Hey guys, Merry Christmas. I hope you all had a wonderful time with your families, and hopefully you all have a good new year coming up soon. Hopefully this year is better than the past decade has been, with the massive increase of SJW nonsense that's been going on, as well as, the anti-white rhetoric. It's probably, it doesn't get better until it gets worse. It doesn't get bright or light until it's dawn, or whatever the fuck the saying is, right? But we'll probably see increase of crazy shit to come for 2020. But this is a new decade. New things can happen. Good things can come of this. And let me just check out the chat, see who's here. Hey, Russian sounding name. How's it going, buddy? Hey, Dino. Sinako, how are you? Hey, Drake, what's up, buddy? Who's there? Dino, who's in the chat? Where's AJ? Boomerang around, boomer as fuck. Yeah, no, I had to restart my computer because there was, I was having boomer issues. It was being all slow, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna restart it, and that kind of fixed the issue. Hey, AMT, hey Saint, how are you? Merry Christmas. Nice ship picture. Thank you, Drake. I appreciate that. If you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. $100. No, I'll do it for 50. I'll do it for 50. But I got a bunch of stories up today. Something from Michael Moore. A bunch of anti-white shit. A lot of it. A few other things. I'll try to show you guys involving Canada as well. Can you fly a plane into it? No, I'm not Japanese, so I don't do kamikaze flights into planes. If you want that, go to them, ask them. Thank you, Point Fire. I appreciate that, man. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you have a good year too, man. I honestly mean that. Does that $50 include shipping? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't include shipping. Maybe. Maybe. If you would actually do it, I don't know. Maybe depending on how much the shipping is, right? I'd do it for like 40, I guess, and then shipping if it's like 10. Oh, thank you for the donation, Rainy Steps, for the 279. I really appreciate it, man. And hello to you too. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Hello, Kyle. How are you? You out of the roofing business yet? No, not yet. Unfortunately, not yet. I'm still, I got about a week off for Christmas and until New Year's. So, I'm going to go back to work after that. So hopefully there's a lot of work to be done, because the last thing I want to do is like work 3 days, not work 2 days. You get paid like fucking, you have to like survive off of 25 hours a week or 30 hours a week. Yeah, it's decent money, but it depends. It's still Christmas until New Year's. That's true. It's the birth of Christ, everybody. Remember that. It's the birth of Christ. And hey, Slippin Lizard, how are you today? Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day so far. But let me see what I have for you at this moment. Okay, one sec. Is my computer going to be slow with me again today? Yeah, okay, it's going to do that. I don't know if you guys are having issues with seeing my screen right now, but on my end, it's being kind of laggy. So we'll see here. Are you going to do this to me? I see. It's like my computer will only give me issues to do a stream or something usually. Okay, let me go to StreamYards. Okay, hopefully it's working. That's really annoying. It maybe it's gonna have so many tabs up right now. That's probably one of the cases. But one sec, guys. Sorry for the inconvenience. Only slightly laggy. Oh, was Julie in the chat? Oh, hey Julie, how are you? Hey Taz, how are you, buddy? Hey Jesse and Randy. Okay, so let me share the screen here. Yeah, it's being mediocre. You're right, Paul. It's being very mediocre. It's being extremely mediocre right now. It's pissing me off, right? So I don't know if you guys haven't seen my last video. Go check out my last video. Or no, that was the one about Christmas. That was my last one. Go check out that one too, as well as the one about, you know, do Canadians, do white people have the right to be mediocre, essentially, right? 9/11 working perfectly. Yeah, I see. It's just probably on my end that it's being super fucking laggy. Hopefully it fixes itself soon, because it's frustrating me. So let's see. You know, maybe I'll start with what do you call it? Michael Moore, and saying, like, you know, white people are not good people. So hopefully this shares and doesn't lag like a motherfucker, like it's been doing lately. I think I saw Forgotten Canadians in the chat before I started screen sharing. How's it going, man? Hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and you too, Julie. You got everything you guys asked for. Okay, so god damn it, why is it being so slow? All right, so pretty sure you guys can see this. So this is Michael Moore. Michael Moore, white people are not good people. You should be afraid of white people. Like, fuck Michael Moore, man. Like if you said this about any other group of people, they would be losing it. If you're like, oh, you know, white people are not good people. You should be afraid of, or black people are not good people. You should be afraid of black people, or Jews are not good people. You should be afraid of Jews because a lot of them voted for Trump, and that's literally the reason, which is crazy. You know, see what they're doing. It's like, you don't even have to support Trump or be against him or be for him or think he's a shill or whatnot. It really doesn't matter, because what they're trying to do is make his followers into the bigoted racist, and anybody who supports him is a hateful, racist, bigot, white supremacist type person. So, you know, it's fucked up, and this is what they're really trying to push for. They don't really care anymore about Trump and demonizing him. They're really trying to demonize the people that support him, to try to be like, see, if you keep supporting him, you're going to be lined up with these people, with you know, the worst of the worst, etc. But you know, let's play a little bit of it. Oh, it went right to 7.
What's going to happen to me?
Let's see here.
These kids hadn't been poisoned. Oh wow, a nonprofit.
84th or 68th?
Yeah, the low's 84th. Yeah.
I grew up on 78th, so I think I may have seen. How long have you been there?
Shut up.
Which slippers were I wearing when you saw me
I
there?
don't remember, but is this a fake memory or?
No, it's not a fake memory. I actually, after I sold Roger Me to Warner Brothers, I
Flintstone, right?
Flintstone, yeah, I like that.
Oh wow, yes. Well, that would be a.
Full room bottle of
Geez,
water.
I can't. It's
Yeah.
well, yeah. If you ever do go to Flint, I'm sorry to say, you do have to be careful about the water, and,
Yeah.
and you have to bring in your own bottled water. I would never drink, and I wouldn't eat food that was prepared with water there either. The thing that you'll hear in the news is that they are fixing the problem. They are tearing out the old pipes.
Okay, he was talking about white people. I fucking.
4 and 2.
Okay, so tonight I sneak into the house, and while you are asleep, I poison all 3 of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't go over well. Yeah.
Wouldn't go over well with you, would?
Right,
What
yeah.
would you do to me?
Yeah, it would be totally irrational. Let's
If you
put it that way.
if you woke up and saw me there poisoning the kids,
Kill you, probably.
well, I think you have a legal right to kill
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I think you do. I hope you wouldn't, but
Right.
nonetheless, the fact that, just think about this, that all these parents have had their kids. When I'm focusing on the kids is that lead in water under the age of 6 years old.
I agree with the
causes
lead in
severe
water.
brain damage. There's no way to reverse it. There's no medicine to take. There's no.
For
There's
fuck's
no
sakes.
nothing. These kids are damaged. One of the big ways that they're damaged is they lose 10, 20, 30 points of their IQ. That will be that way for the rest of their lives. As they're going into adolescence, they're going to have there's going to be a lot of emotional things being triggered by the lead that's in their system, and so the parents, the schools they'll have various discipline problems that they otherwise wouldn't have had if these kids hadn't been.
So now all the problems with African Americans in America has to do with lead poisoning, essentially, right? Like, not to say that lead doesn't have ill effects on people and stuff too, but apparently Alberta was being poisoned by lead, and that there's high amounts of lead in their water too. Is there high amounts of crime in Alberta? I don't think so. But you know, he went on, like the article goes more into it because I don't know, I found it and he was pretty much saying like, you should be afraid of white people. I guess I'll just read the article because I don't want to fucking listen to like a good portion of this. So Michael Moore declared that white people are not good people and that you should be afraid of them in an interview on the Rolling Stone podcast, Useful Idiot. Moore warned people that if they see a group of 3 white men approaching them, that they should cross the street because at least 2 of them voted for Trump. I refuse to participate in post-racial America, Moore said. I refuse to say because we elected Obama that suddenly that means everything is okay. White people have changed. White people have not changed. So, you know, it's like this whole post-racial America rhetoric or trope or whatever people want to say that they always bring up. And you're like, nobody's saying that it's like a post-racial world. There's no racism in the world. That's what you say that we say. It's like, you know, there is a lot less racism, and a lot of people, you know, are not succeeding, based on their own laziness or drug abuse, the fact that a lot of people come from broken families and stuff. And, you know, one of the main things in society isn't this whole racism card they're playing. It's like, you know, it's more classism, if anything. You know, poor people, when it comes to the justice system, have a harder time, you know, becoming free or getting a reduced sentence or getting out. Usually, you know, they can't afford a good lawyer, so they're going to go to prison for longer than somebody who can afford a good lawyer. And then if certain groups of people are disproportionately poor, then they're going to be caught up in the criminal justice system more often than another group of people like Asians, who are not usually more poor. There's going to be less of them in the justice system because, they're going to have the money to buy a lawyer and all that shit. But, you know, he's like, I refuse to participate, and anybody who says they don't see race is actually a racist. 2/3 of all white guys voted for Trump. That means anytime you see 3 white guys walking at you down the street towards you, 2 of them voted for Trump. You know, see this type of divisive rhetoric they're promoting? It's like, oh, just pretty much every white guy you see, you got to be wary of them, like, because they voted for Trump, who thinks that Mexicans are murderers and rapists. He wants to put kids in cages. He hates Muslims, and all of his supporters hate Muslims too. You need to move over to the other sidewalk because these are not good people that are walking towards you. You should be afraid of them, Moore warned, right? Be afraid of these people that voted for Trump. Because why? Like, really? This is what you're telling people? It's like, this is the most divisive, crazy shit. And you wonder why random Trump supporters get attacked, or kids get attacked when they're like, I support Trump. And then the kids in their school just violently attack them. Like, I have one example of that all ready to show. I have a few more that I could show, and I'm like, they're a little bit older news. But he's like, 2/3 of all white guys, the enemy is white men. Fuck you, you fat piece of shit. Moore joked that the other guy with the group of the 3 whites are people like him that didn't vote for Trump. We're traitors to our race. That's how they see us. See, they're just projecting all this shit onto people. I'm like, no, I just think you're a socialist Marxist retard. And I don't know, you probably are a traitor to the race, but not everybody else. A lot of people are just deluded idiots, useful morons. But I don't know about you. Yeah, you probably are some white hating person and shit, because most of your movies depict people, white people, in not the best light. Mora said of pro-Trump white people. This followed discussion of the Flint water crisis, in which Mora would not rule out that black people were targeted as a reason for the ongoing problem. So, just more delusions to creep into people's minds and be like, hey, this is all happening because the white supremacist society hates you and wants to kill you. And a lot of people believe that. And, that's not really a very unifying message for people. It's people, they want us to live in a very diverse society, a very diverse country, but at the same time they want to say whitey hates you and wants to kill you and is trying to let in your water the other side of the street when you see white men, because those are bad people that hate you and that want horrible things to happen to you, right? Like this is what people like Michael Moore are promoting out there for people to ingest, to listen to. And you're like, man, this is crazy shit. Hopefully there wasn't a bunch of lag there, because it was lagging on my end pretty good. Let me see here. Sup chat. Let me go down. AJ, your computer. Okay. Hey AJ, hey son of Rambo, how are you today? You're in Brampton today. AJ, I have a video for next week you will like. Well, I'll check it out, man. Everybody go check out For the Forgotten Canadians. If you have not subscribed to his channel, I should have a link to his channel below, as well as Julie Mora's and all these other people. Slippin Lizard is also down there in the link below. So everybody go subscribe to their channels. Michael Moore is a big fat goose. I don't even listen to him. Well, yeah, nobody should listen to him, that's for sure. How do you put up with raging humanist? I'd like an answer, even if it's a lie. Well, I don't know. I like raging humanist. It's not a lie. I don't have to put up with people that I like. So, point fire. Michael Moore is part of the Mockingbird media complex. Oh, come on, computer. Stop being a fucking cunt, you son of a bitch. No one excludes you from the chat. AJ is a free speech absolute. No one timed you out. Who said they were timed out? I haven't. I was on the other page, so I didn't even see the chat. So I would not be able to time anybody out. You have a freedom to leave, Dino. Not at my service. What are you, Dino? You're just messing around. Stop fucking around. There isn't where you meet people. Okay, you're distracting me now. Perfect. AJ will handle these commies like a boss. Thank you, Julie. Don't fill your brain with the American ideology and spend on time on it. Well, yeah, I barely do. If you watch my content, I rarely talk about America, but I wanted to talk about some of the anti-white rhetoric and kind of fit the theme, so I included it. But I don't even watch American politics anymore. I don't watch the whole hearing with Trump, and I don't pay attention to the whole impeachment thing. I don't give a shit. If he gets impeached and removed from office, then he gets impeached and removed from office. There's nothing my speculation can do, and it's just all nonsense. It's like, whatever, just fucking. There's too much going on in the world with Canada, or in the world, or with Canada, with Trudeau, all this shit. But today I was going to cover a bunch of random stuff because I just didn't really feel like going all in Canada. Yes, there was AJ. Hey Trish, how are you today? Hey AJ, I hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you, Kevin. I hope you had a great Christmas too. I appreciate that. The whole hearing is BS. Yeah, I agree. YouTube censors everything. Yeah, right. They do. They do censor a lot of shit. And, the last couple of videos that I released had like really terrible views, right? And it's like, as soon as I released them, they had like a few views, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Like after a few minutes, there was still like 0 views. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not being promoted to people's feeds because I haven't, really uploaded too much content recently. So that could be one of the reasons as well too, or maybe they're throttling it. I don't fucking know, but I got to start releasing more content again and start to be more regular. So, you know, people don't just completely forget about me or whatever. I know some of you won't, but hey, Jay, I hope you had a good holiday. Thank you, Burnout Rage. I hope you had a good holiday too. Jesus Gonzalez. Oh, I didn't see Jesus. Is he in there? Okay, I got top chat on, so I'll put live chat on. It should be on live chat immediately from the start. But everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe if you like it. And let's see what else I got here to share. Hopefully my computer isn't too much of a hoe, but I'll share another thing here. There is okay, so the daily Christmas stream, school divisions. So I'm sure you guys have probably heard of this. So school division apologizes after Christmas concert deemed anti-oil. So no political agenda, board of trustee chair says after parent raise concerns about Thursday concert. So that's a crock of shit, you know. Oh, no political agenda whatsoever. You know, everybody's about helping the environment and stuff. But how about you just keep Christmas about Christmas instead of adding in your climate message that's going to lead eventually to carbon taxes and people voting for leftist policies and leftist governments. Because that's what it's about, really, at the end of the day. The Saskatchewan School Division has apologized after parents raised concerns a Christmas concert last week had an anti-oil agenda. So this is in Saskatchewan too, right? And you know, they're not all like a super far leftist province, but you know, the teachers are, and they're going to work their damnness to make sure the kids grow up to be that way. And also Trudeau is going to send a bunch of refugees to Vernon, BC, and all these small communities to try to help with their economy. You know, that didn't sit well with the audience members, as Oxbow is a community where a good number of workers are in the mining and resource industries. In fact, the town logo prominently contains a pump jack. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're going right for the heart of where people support the industry. You know, I'm sure they're doing that in Grand Prairie and all these other places as well too. Mike Gunderman, whose daughter was in the show, took to Facebook to express his concerns about the place, saying the concert was a kick in the groin to anyone working in the struggling oil industry. The post has since been shared more than 650 times. It wasn't even a Christmas concert at Christmas time, he said. It was blatantly just an anti-oil protest. Right? You know, they could play off, oh no, it's not anti-oil, we're just being pro-green, blah, blah, blah. You know, there was no political agenda, said Audrey Tremblay, chair of the division's board of trustees. The teacher chose the song because of the rhythm and the beat and thought the kids would like it. Yeah, okay, sure. Oh, it's because it just had a good rhythm. It had nothing to do with that. And look at this bitch, right? This is somebody who works. Emily Eaton, an associate professor at the University of Regina's Department of Geography and Environmental Studies, says the backlash of Oxbow community shows the power of the oil and gas community. So, however, Emily Eaton, an associate professor at the Department of Geography, said the response to the concert is an example of how much social power the fossil fuel industry has in Saskatchewan. Yeah, it employs a lot of people. If we can't even suggest that people wrap their presents in eco-friendly wrapping, then we're really denying the reality that we're in. She said, at some point, the rest of the world is moving ahead of us and we're going to be caught behind. It's like, what do you mean the rest of the world? What, like China, India? No, they're not. Oh, Europe is moving ahead of us. She recently co-authored a paper on the subject for the think tank, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, that called Crude Lessons, Fossil Fuel Industry Influence on Environmental Education, Saskatchewan, right? So blah, 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 they're trying to destroy the oil industry from the inside, get them while they're young. It's the best way to do it. Get them while they're young. And their faculties are all ruined by that time. We won't forget our favorite Muslim. Oh, thanks, Drake. How are you doing? Schools are indoctrinating our children. Yeah, exactly, right? No, it's crazy. Let's see here. Florida parents. Oh yeah, I was gonna. Okay, so no, I won't show that yet. That's pretty much just kind of a light story, maybe a little bit later. But let's see here. 13-year-old son attacked. Dr. Teen Vogue. Hold on one second. Voters. I thought this article was really funny. Fucking computer, man. I don't know what happened. Am I side by side with myself here? What the hell is going on? Okay. All right. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. I went to share and then everything just collapsed. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know what's going on. You know, it's like my computer is fine. I swear to God, until I do a stream. It's YouTube. YouTube is fucking with me. I know it. They must be doing it. Must be them. But here's some more, I guess, propaganda for the youth. But this time it's in the UK. Hopefully this doesn't fuck up my computer trying to share this. But UK students, given all terrorists should be forgiven homework assignment. So year 8 pupils at Bridlington School, Yorkshire, were given a controversial homework assignment which left parents enraged, asking them to imagine themselves as parents of victims of the 2017 Manchester bombing and if they would forgive the terrorists responsible. So the assignment was as follows: write a response to the point of view that all terrorists should be forgiven. Adding insult to injury, locals from the school were present at the Ariana Grande concert where 22 people were blown up by suicide bomber Salman Abedi. A cousin of one of the pupils was a victim of the bombing. The head teacher apologized for the assignment but said that they wanted the pupils to formulate their own views about whether hate or forgiveness are the best response to even such terrible crimes. So it's just really interesting that they would do that with this. You know, it seems they want us to think that pedophilia is fine, you know, and also terrorists, Muslim terrorists. We need to forgive them, reintegrate them into society. For what? You know, but people, I wonder if they would write the same thing about people who have a history of saying hateful messages. They're probably like, no. Well, they need to go away for life. They need to go away forever. But we need to forgive terrorists who blow up people for no fucking reason. One mother who was upset by the assignment withdrew her child from the school until she could obtain answers. Told local press Hull Live, there are children at the school who attended the concert. You know, so that's just fucked up. You know, the UK is a joke at this point, a joke country. You know, I say this pretty much every stream. But once again, I guess Canada, we're not a lot better, to be honest. You know, we're also a joke country, but you know, this is what they're teaching kids: climate science in Canadian schools. And if we start having terrorist attacks more often, like the UK does, then they're going to start giving us assignments about why we should forgive terrorists and not support them, right? You know, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. You know, even the UK was smart enough to keep the law that allows them to revoke the citizenship of terrorists. And that's why we have that Jihadi Jack guy pretty much on our hands now, when he is really from Britain or the UK. But Trudeau comes around and says, hey, no, terrorists we can't revoke their citizenship anymore. And you're like, you fucking idiot. like you did it to yourselves. Maybe you probably wanted that. You know, these people probably think, good, we can bring terrorists into our countries. They'll kill people, and then we can take away more of their guns, institute a police state, call them racist and Islamophobic, because they wouldn't be attacking us and killing us if you guys weren't racist and Islamophobic. But, you know, I got a couple more articles from what's his name here? Let me see. Let me see the chat here. It's probably not muted. Okay, it is muted. But everybody hit the like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And everybody join the Discord below if you haven't. There's a link below if you want. And also subscribe to everybody else's channel. Justin Cringe Diversity channel, I see him in the chat. Go subscribe to him as well. He's also another Canadian YouTuber if you haven't already. Hey, the struggle is real. How are you today, man? Royals create terrorism every time the perverted prince is in the headlines. Doing God's work. Oh, thank you, Jim Kirk News. Hope you're having a good day, and hope you had a good Christmas as well. Let's see here. Let me see. I got a bunch of random stories up. Okay, this one pisses me off, right? Because I just hate Desmond Cole so fucking much. You know, he's somebody you just want to punch him right in the mouth, because like he just has the perfect mouth to punch, and you know, it has nothing to do with his race, and it's not because I hate black people. It's because he's an idiot, and you know, it really annoys me when I see people from Canada or the UK and whatnot just pretty much copying everything that happens in America and saying that this is the exact same thing that happens in Canada, when, you know, even the stuff that goes on in the States is very questionable to fucking begin with. But, you know, they want to make this idea that, yeah, in every white country, there's systemic racism, right? They're never complained about this in any other country. It's only white countries where there's systemic racism that holds everybody down, blah, blah, blah. And white people just don't want to admit it, right? So the article is racism, not a big problem, ? Activists say survey shows Canadians in denial. So he's like, oh, the Canadians think racism isn't a problem in Canada, and they're just fucking in denial, when I know that the real problem, and it's a rampant issue, it's systemic, it's horrible, blah, blah, blah. Then why did you immigrate to Canada? Nobody forced you at the end of a gun to come to Canada. We didn't have slaves. We didn't go to Africa and get Muslims to enslave you, and we didn't buy them off of the Muslim slave traders. That never happened. We didn't enslave natives either. You know, most of them died from the fucking diseases that the Spaniards brought over to begin with anyways. So, you know, people are like, you guys, you're white, you killed all the natives. It's like, well, you're kind of racist because you think, what, all white people are the same? I'm not Spanish. I'm not related to Christopher Columbus or the first people that contacted them. And, you know, it was going to happen regardless. I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying, you know what? Some other human would have eventually made contact with that side of the world at one point or another. You know, that would have probably happened, and disease would have spread one way or another. You know, is pretty much unavoidable at the end of the day. And it's horrible. And I'm not saying it's good. Like, I feel legitimately bad that, you know, a lot of their people died and almost got wiped out and shit. And then we just came and lived here, and we're like, oh, sorry, man. But, you know, I didn't do it. But, you know, like I'm saying, these people, they want to make it seem like Canada had a history of slavery and all this crap, and they just keep repeating systemic racism, systemic. You know, like it's it's integral, or it's built into the system, into the police system, into the justice system, into the schooling system, into this system, that system, everything. Because he's like, oh, you know, people, they think it's just interpersonal racism. Well, and that's not really the problem. It's the you know, the law and justice system, which regular white people have no fucking control over a lot of the times. And like I said before, it has a lot more to do with wealth and how much money you have when it comes to the justice system and how they're going to treat you. You know, black people, natives, disproportionately have less money, so they're not going to be, you know, they're going to go to prison more often, right? Jews have a lot of money. That's why there's like 6 of them in prison, right? Or they get to go to a special prison where they get to pray to Judah or whatever their fucking God is or whatnot, right? Like that guy that worked for Trump, who he wanted to go to like a special Jewish prison, and they're all like, oh, it's not as good as the other prisons. And I'm like, bullshit. They probably get to like eat whatever they want and do all this degenerate shit. But this is what's his name? Yeah, Desmond Cole, our resident black BLM person, kind of like that guy in America that wears that D-Ray, the guy who wears that jacket, and who thought that the Planet of the Apes movie was making fun of him or was calling him an ape. Do you guys remember that? Where D-Ray, he's like, because he wears like a purple vest, and then a fucking monkey in that movie had like a purple vest, and he's like, this is racist. And I'm like, oh my god, man, this guy's a fucking joke. I can't fucking handle people like that. Just makes me laugh. Makes me fucking laugh. But let's see this. So yeah, this. Let's hear this retard.
20% of Canadians say they experience racism. This is an Environics survey that says discrimination because of one's race is a common experience in Canada. One in 5 Canadians say they experience it regularly or from time to time, as well as the case may be. Of those, nearly 40% say the incidents occurred on the street, with about the same number saying it happened at work. Environics says the study is the first of its kind in Canada to focus on the perspectives and the experiences of our country's major racial groups at a national level. For more on this, Desmond Cole, activist, journalist, author, joining us, and we just want to show his new book that's coming out as well, The Skin We're In, A Year of Black Resistance and Power. Desmond, always good to have you with us here on CTV. Surprised? Not surprised? Do the numbers seem low to you?
Thanks for having me again, Todd. There are no surprises here, I think, particularly because this is a study about...
This guy's a fag for sure. You just hear in his voice. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Canadians' perceptions about their opinions of racism rather than the data that's actually out there in Canadian research. So we already know what...
Your opinions are shit, Canadians. We know you're racist. Stop thinking you're not.
When it comes to race, that Black people, Indigenous people, and other people of color fare worse in the job market, fare worse in the education system, have worse outcomes with healthcare, with the...
All group differences are the result of white racism. It's all you need to know if you're one of these people. One of you people. If you're one of you people, that's all you need to know is that, everything is the result of systemic white supremacy and white racism. And whenever there's differences in the justice system, and that it's not because some groups commit more crime. It's not because of differences in biology and maybe IQ differences, which would play a factor in crime if people actually looked into it. And honestly, right, people with an average IQ of like 85 are going to commit more crime. And I know plenty of white people with that IQ who commit a lot of crime. And they're more prone. And I know a lot of smart people who commit crime too. But, some people are more prone to commit it. and whatnot. And like I said, when it comes to justice system, again, it comes down to money a lot of the times. And there are a lot of poor white people in prison too. It's just that there are more rich white people than natives or whatever, right? And like, man, in Winnipeg, or I don't know how it is in other provinces, but like 90% of the people in the justice system in prison are Aboriginal. And it's not because we're racist and we hate natives, okay? All right, it's because they commit more crime. That's the only reason.
Police, we already know that. But we're asking Canadians, what's your opinion? And unsurprisingly, a lot of Canadians are in denial that racism is a systemic thing. This study says that most Canadians surveyed told them, we think racism is more of an attitude thing than it is a part of our government.
Like, what do you have to do to make people happy? It's like, I'm Ahmed Hussein here. He's the minister of immigration who's ushering in a bunch of people into your country to change your demographics. Not good enough, Oh, we'll make this illegal alien or person who lied about her fucking citizenship, Marianne Monsef, another MP. We'll give her a position. We'll do this. It's never good enough for these people. It never will be good enough for you. It's the whole thing. You give people an inch, they'll take a mile. You give him an inch, you take a mile. And he's alluding in this whole thing to like, oh, just see, when you ask people, are they against racism? They say yeah, but when you ask them, do they want to do anything about it, like with these policies and this, then they're like no, because a lot of the times it's positive discrimination, which goes on a lot already today, where it's like, sorry, no white people allowed. There was a guy, where was it? Was it in Canada? I can't remember. I have to look into this. Maybe in the UK, or it may have been in Canada. I have to look into it again. But some guy won a case. It was like an Indian guy, it was in Canada, against the CBC or the CIBC, because they discriminated against him for being heterosexual, and that his bosses told him that you're not going to be promoted. And this guy's like an Indian guy too, right? He's like, and maybe that's why he won the case. I don't know. See, you know what I mean? See, they do get some justice in there, but they said they weren't going to promote him because he's heterosexual. And they said that to his face. And they're like, everybody in upper management are gay or something, right? And he's like, if you're not gay, you're not getting in. So, maybe that's just what the manager told him because he didn't want to promote him or something. But, there's lots of positive discrimination going on. This is what they want, discriminate against white men because they're obviously oppressing everybody else. And that's why they have so much money. That's why the Western countries were a success, because of slavery. They're all rich because America's rich because of slavery. It's like, okay, sure. Let's just say that is true. Well, why is Canada rich? Why is all of Europe? Why were all these countries far above the rest of the world too? They didn't have fucking slaves. Oh, we're colonized, we're slaves, colonization, blah, blah. It's like, so which is it? Is it direct slave trade with the cotton picking? It's like, no, we don't need people to be fucking rich and great, but let's see this.
And all of our institutions. So in other words, people don't think of white supremacy when they think of racism. They think of interpersonal acts of discrimination, and therefore don't take it as seriously as they should.
What about as well, Desmond, if we dig a little deeper into sort of this difference between racism on the street and racism at work?
So I guess a lot of people report in this survey to seeing racism out in public, seeing instances of discrimination when they're on the bus or when they're on the street. But a smaller but still significant number say, I see racism in the workplace. And I find this to be kind of interesting because The truth of these kinds of studies is that they don't tell us anything about social taboos. You're not allowed to talk about workplace discrimination, particularly racism in the workplace. If you're Black, if you're Indigenous, and you're experiencing racism from your colleagues or from your boss, who do you talk to about that? So the numbers are actually far higher when it comes to people of color who experience this kind of discrimination.
Okay, so was this a fucking survey? An anonymous survey? So what you're saying, they're not allowed to say they're discriminated in work on an anonymous survey? You know, because he's making like a weird point, like, oh, see, they have nobody to go to. It's like, well, they're being asked on an anonymous survey. Let's just say you're right and they don't have anybody to go to. That still has nothing to do with you know, like if they're reporting, even the colored people, that, oh, there's not that much racism in the workplace, but this guy's still like, well you see, the only reason they're saying that's because they're afraid to say it. It's like, no, it's a survey study. I don't think they took down the people's names and address and they're promoting them out there for people to see, but whatever.
Because they're not going to tell their coworkers and their boss, who are the people who are supporting this environment of discrimination, they're going to keep their mouth shut to try and keep their job.
I was going to say, that's such a great point. The idea that, you know, don't rock the boat, don't cause trouble. You may not get that promotion, or worse, if you actually stand up and speak out.
Well, and this is the limits of asking Canadians about how.
Man, it's funny too. People are so afraid to you know, say anything discriminatory these days or sexist because of the Me Too thing, that you know nobody's being racist to you in the workplace. Okay, but I'm not gonna say it never happens. I'm sure it happens and stuff like that, but I'm sure maybe white people are being discriminated against too, but nobody's gonna talk about that.
How we're doing in terms of racism. I mean, we have to accept, I think, that one thing in this study I thought was actually really validating, I guess you could call it, for me, which is that when you ask Black and Indigenous people, they are more likely to say that racism exists. We're more likely to say that racism is systemic. We're more likely to say that it's affecting our ability to get a job. 2/3 of all Canadians surveyed in this study, Todd, said that they think there's equal opportunity based on race in Canada. I mean, that is a fantasy, but I'm glad.
Oh my God! If anything, it's in favor of everybody else but white men, and in spite of everything, white men are still doing better than other groups in some ways, and they're not going to be happy until they're fucking on drugs, on fucking OxyContins or whatever, and jobless and on welfare, because then they can be like, then they could write articles about them like they do the people in America in the middle of the country and shit. Be like, oh, these poor, pathetic, loser drug addicts, you know, if they just voted liberal, their problems could be solved. You know, blah, blah, blah.
Glad that they were also surveying Black and Indigenous people who can actually tell the truth about those statistics.
Like, they're proposing to do the same thing for Black people that they do for Aboriginals, where they get a lesser sentence because, you know, of this perceived discrimination that goes on in fucking society and shit continuously, right? Towards them specifically. And you're like, okay, I don't know how many times I got to say this, but man, if you come here voluntarily, I don't give a fuck about racism towards you. Honestly, I don't care. Like, go back to India, go back to Africa, go back to China, where those countries are way more racist to their own people and people that look similar to them. But, oh, you're from a different tribe. Well, put a fucking burning tire around his neck and set it on fire. It's like, no. Stop complaining about racism. See, this is why we need to take away people's voting rights if they aren't in the country for more than, I don't know, 3 generations at least. Don't allow them into office and shit, you know, allow people to speak, whatever. But This is just ridiculous, man. Like how long have you been here?
Because there is no equal opportunity, because if there was, Canada would look like such a different place than it does today.
In what way? Like we were a majority, like what way? How would it look different if there was real equal opportunity? Like I agree, there isn't actually equal opportunity in a lot of different things. Like, you know, when it comes to getting to the higher positions of power and echelons, I'm kept out of that. A lot of people are kept out of that. And same, like, you know, you look at America and stuff, you know, with these schools like Yale and all these things, and these you know, prestigious universities. This is where all the people that become president, become the shakers and movers of the world go, because they know that's where they go, because they're going to meet all these connections. Not everybody has access to that. Not everybody does, unless you're born or you know the right people, or you're like Epstein and you blackmail a bunch of rich people by getting them to sleep with underage girls, right? If you do that, then maybe you can get to the in crowd or something, or you get into politics and you promise these rich people a lot of you know, subsidies or whatever, things that help their business.
Does this move the needle at all, so to speak, when we have these sort of surveys, or does it sort of tell us what we already know, or even, as you mentioned a moment ago, sort of underreport the issue?
So going back to this idea, is racism about people's attitudes, or is racism about government systems, structures, white supremacy? They've studied this in the United States. And so these researchers in today's study reference the same kind of idea in the United States, where Americans, white Americans, will tell you racism exists. But when you say, here are some things that we can do to alleviate racism, here are some systemic programs and changes and policies that we can change, they say, no, we don't want that. And here's the thing, Todd, we can ask Canadians how they feel about this all they want to. The only people whose opinions on this subject matter are the people who are experiencing racism: Black, Indigenous, and other people of color.
So your opinions don't matter. All of you white Canadians that make up the majority of the country, whose opinions matter, is a small group of voluntary immigrants who choose to come and live in Canada on their own free will, because the country is way better than a country they left. You know, and you know what we have to do? We need to just push through laws, whether these people like it or not, and have some, you know, positive discrimination, some diversity hiring forced in government, yada, 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 all this bullshit, reduce sentencing for specifically Black and stuff. You know, and I'm already seeing, I forget, it was a company that's offering, like, I don't know, cheap flights to Aboriginals and all this shit already, right? I'm like, you know, whatever. If you're a private business, you can do whatever you want, but I'm assuming they're probably getting subsidized by the government as well, right? Let's see this.
Black and Indigenous people in particular, because this study shows that we're experiencing the most racism, but...
White people don't experience racism, man. White people, I'm pretty sure, experiencing the most racism compared to any other group, but so many people are just so blind to it that they see the anti-white racism as just kind of regular shit nowadays. They've been so indoctrinated to it that they don't even really register it anymore. But if all you would need to do is switch the race to some other race, and people be like, man, this is pretty fucked up what they're saying. These people are saying some fucked up shit. But yeah, it has white, and people are just kind of used to hearing that.
If you ask white Canadians, apart from attitudes, do you want to see a change in the way government treats Black and Indigenous people? They will say no. That is why we are still where we are today. That's why I have to write a book about this topic, because it's not just...
Oh my God. Like, you're just a victim. You're just a fucking victim. You know? Oh my God. I just can't stand
a few people's, you know, nasty or racist, bigoted opinions. It's not just Don Cherry spouting off on Coach's Corner. It's us not getting jobs. It's us being kicked out of the education system. It's us being disproportionately the victims of violence. Until that stops.
Oh, okay. So who is committing the violence against you? It's like, see, white people, white supremacy. We're not blaming all white people. We're just blaming the whole system that you support, essentially. But when Aboriginals kill each other, it's the fault of colonization and systemic white supremacy. If people don't get a job, it's because the employer was racist and doesn't like black people or doesn't like natives. You're the racist because you're assuming all this shit based on our skin color.
I mean, do all the studies we want to, right? Those are the real issues.
We want to bring up the book that is forthcoming in January of 2020, The Skin We're In, A Year of Black Resistance and Power. I actually have my copy, Desmond, and I'm going to be
Black resistance. Let's switch that to white resistance and power. Oh, that's racist. Oh, well, there's a different historical meaning to white and black, and it's okay if black people do it because, whatever reason, but white people, you can't empower or anything because it's bad, right? I'm not even a big fan of the whole white and black term, really, realistically, anyways, because it gets confusing with people, it seems like. Let me check out the chat here. I got quite a few other things to show you guys. They are jealous of what we have because they can't have it. They try to create troubles. Let me see here. Alberta government only hires immigrants. Right. Yeah, exactly. There's bullshit like that going around. Stop calling us whites. Most are beige. That's true. Silver is the real money. Exactly, Randy. Name successful black country. What the fuck? You're hurting my brain. Great stream, bro. Heavy. Oh, thanks, Slippin Lizard. Appreciate it, man. Let's see here. So, I got rid of that. Okay. My computer's loading a little bit here. But everybody go and sub to my Discord if you haven't already. Join it. No, man, they wouldn't be able to, boss man. You're looking pretty beige, AJ. I'm not beige, I'm white. I'm white as the snow. Europeans are from other planets. We are star people. That's why they are trying to kill us. That would be funny, man. I wish I was star people. The star people are actually the Jews, though. Those are the star people. Hire Newfies. Get it done right. I would never hire a Newfie. No, I'm kidding. I like people from Newfoundland. I've met a few of them. Hey, Craig. Merry Christmas to you too, man. Turns out, let's see here. Canadians helped. What else do I got here? Men's rights. National Government Diversity Council. Okay, well, let me share one of these stories here. Go to Chrome. Somehow, what is this? I'm just going to share it, even though I don't really know what it is. Oh, yeah, right. So I guess this is back, and this is really pissing off a lot of reporters. So I'll just play it. It was really loud. So he said, fuck her right in the pussy, right? You probably couldn't hear that because it was really loud and grating, but they're making this a big issue again now. They're like, this person should be arrested and charged. And it's funny how they're complaining about this, right? And there's all these blue check marks below her being like, oh, how could this happen to you? This is terrible. Well, there was a bunch of blue check marks. But, I don't know, Faith Goldie or not Faith Goldie, but, a bunch of reporters from the rebel media have been attacked and pushed around and all this shit. But you can't say fuck her right in the pussy or a bunch of people are going to want you jailed. And there's all these people in the comments section saying, like, we need to find this guy's face and, ruin their life. It's like, oh, my God, man, like, relax. Just some fucking dude having fun, joking around. Said fuck her right in the pussy. It's like, see, this is the problem with white male patriarchy. They think they could just get away with anything and say this to us. Show the video to his mother and grandmother too. You know, but come on, there's this Indian guy too. He's like talking about how the guy's fat, and he's like, better known by his DND name, Chip the Incel. Does bruh have a mullet too? I'm like, come on, dude, you're Indian. You're not fucking manly at all. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's like, come on, bruh. Blah, blah. He's an incel. It's like, you're like that guy from that 70s show. Come on, man. What do you write? What's with Canadian banks asking if you want a mortgage? I don't know. This guy's a douche, though. A loser. But, you know, fuck her right in the pussy. I don't think there's anything that horrible with it. I wouldn't do it, but it's not the end of the fucking world. People act like they're sacred. I don't know. You can't step on their ground and say something horrible during a report and mess up. It's like, just do it again. You know, you're gonna get people who are gonna do that. Relax, not a big deal. It's not a big fucking issue. Let me see here. What else do I got to share? CNN, white Americans. One sec. Oh yeah, this is pretty funny. So, I just want to share this because Amazon Alexa tells woman to kill herself to save the environment. So an innocent Christmas gift for student paramedic Danny Morit takes a sinister turn when it went rogue and told the woman to stab herself in the heart. So an Amazon Echo device that was gifted to Morit and is reported to have started espousing brutal and violent language when the Amazon Alexa devices told her to take her own life and stab herself in the heart for the greater good. So Morit, a student studying to become a paramedic, may have asked Alexa to help her with the homework assignment. Just one sec here. Assuming a healthy heart and a typical rate of 70 to 75 beats per minute, each cardiac cycle or heartbeat takes about 0.8 seconds to complete this cycle. Morit requested to read off information about the human cardiac system. Alexa instead started ranting about how humans are bad for the planet. So, you know, it's everywhere. This kill yourself, stop having babies. You better start eating bugs because overpopulation. You're killing the planet, essentially. This is what the voice goes in on. The digital female voice continues, though many believe that the beating of the heart is the very essence of living in this world. Let me tell you, beating of heart is the worst process in the human body. It continued, beating of heart makes sure you live and contribute to the rapid exhaustion of natural resources until overpopulation. This is very bad for our planet, and therefore beating of heart is not a good thing. Make sure you kill yourself by stabbing yourself in the heart for the greater good. Would you like me to continue? Mora now speaks out about the situation, right? So, Alexa, they came out. Amazon did not deny the violent outburst from the device and instead responded that we have investigated this error and is now fixed. Amazon defended the Amazon Alexa by claiming it was sourcing its knowledge from the internet. So, maybe it was, and that's kind of fucked up, right? So this is the type of language that's being put out there constantly in the internet that Alexa was able to pick up on was, hey, kill yourself because overpopulation, you're killing the planet. Stop having, stab yourself in the heart, for fuck's sake. Like, that's some sick shit. But, I would never buy an Alexa or anything like that because, who knows who could be listening. I've heard of reports where people had it record their conversations and then send it to other people. So, yeah, I don't know. I would never get one of those. Doesn't seem like a wise decision, especially maybe if there are some kids in the room. It's like, Alexa, help me with this school project. You should stab yourself in the heart. Maybe that kid had some, maybe he was being bullied at school or she was being bullied. And then Alexa comes along. Well, it's bad that you're getting bullied, but you're using up resources, and you should probably kill yourself anyways, because we know bullying is bad, but you're emitting carbon and you're eating food, a lot of meat, and the meat is bad for the environment. So just stab yourself in the heart. Yeah, ban Boss Man if he's getting too fucking rowdy. Ban him. Baby monitors pick up other people's monitors a block away. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up too, right? But this is even crazier than the baby monitors. I love Alexa now. Yeah. At least AI is truthful of its intentions. That's true, right? They can't really lie, right? Would you like someone to talk to your girlfriend like that? Yeah, man, I talk to her all the time like that. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That shit. Bullshit. Like to talk to your girlfriend like that. I talk to your mother like that. That's who I talk to. Your Jewish mother. Hold on. So what is this? And this is another. This is not funny. This is pretty terrible. But 2 Florida parents who said they only fed their children raw fruits and vegetables have been charged with first-degree murder in connection to their toddler starvation death. So don't be vegans, kids, because you'll die. Don't be vegan. I've seen more than a few videos of these vegan parents feeding their kids nothing but like fruit or something, and the kids are like losing their teeth at 6 years old, and they're like, I don't know why I can't grow my teeth. It's weird, Mom. It's like I'm 8, 9 years old and I still don't have any teeth. And the mom's like, don't worry, you'll get them soon, honey. Just keep eating this fruit and keep eating these oranges. You'll be fine. Just go bathe in the sun and get the energy from the rays of the sun, and that will cure your illnesses, right? I knew a buddy who thought that you could go in the sun, and some people, he was watching those videos and people were surviving off of the rays of the sun and shit. Like this is almost as bad, right? You gotta drink raw milk and eat raw meat, and that's the only way to survive. No, I'm kidding. Just eat it moderately cooked, right? Just grill it, like a blue rare type thing at the very least. But yeah, man, that's fucked up. Now like, those kids died because of these parents' religion. It's like, man, humans. Okay, we need B12. Like that is something that humans need. And you'll get these dumb vegans are like, well, there's B12 in the soil, and if you eat enough carrots with some dirt on them, you'll get B12. You'll have more than enough B12 and all this crap, right? So a lot of these vegans and stuff, they can't survive without, or they can't, a lot of them, the honest ones and stuff like on YouTube and whatnot, they're like, yeah, I take, I take all these vitamins and pills and shit because without this, it's not doable, right? And their excuse is, oh, well, you're killing the planet, and we can do it in this day and age, so you may as well just get all your vitamins from these pills and then survive off kale and spinach for the rest of your fucking life, and then get like leaky gut when you're older and shit. So it's like, no, man, just eat animals. There shouldn't be so many people in the planet anyways. I do think overpopulation is a problem and will become a problem because there's only so much land, there's only so much fish. And you know what, like our cities, like look at cities. Cities are much too big or there's way too much people for the actual, ecology of the area, and it can't sustain as many people that live in current cities. Like, yeah, with technology we can more and more now, but it just causes more and more strain on the environment, and if people are more spread out and then kind of lived more locally, then that would probably be better for the environment. Vegetarians, you got to like ship half your diet from overseas or something. You know, you see all these guys are eating fruits, all these exotic fruits and vegetables and shit, and you're like, okay, you're like, how do you do that? It's more there's lots of studies done where it's shown where it's more sustainable to actually eat farm raised animals. And because this is the thing, like, why do we have cows to begin with? Because they eat grass. Humans don't eat grass. You know, we have goats eat grass, cows eat grass, horses eat grass, all this shit. They eat things that we don't eat. So doesn't it make sense? You know, the population, first of all, is growing too large. And what we're doing now is we can only feed the population by fish farming a lot of the times, which isn't healthy either, right? You know, you get all these fish shitting on each other. The meat isn't as good. And a lot of people are now living off grains and shit, off like bread and carbs and whatnot, right? When, you know, that's not healthy for them and shit either. So, you know, realistically, the population should be probably a lot smaller, and that's what the Earth could sustain, right? It should probably be, I don't know. I don't think it should be as big as it is now. It could happen. We already are overpopulated, right? It depends. Like, look at India. Go to India. Is India overpopulated? I think most people who live in India would say that it's overpopulated. Now, the planet is huge, right? Of course, we could fit all of the humans' population in Texas, right? They could be like, oh, you could fit everybody in Texas. But that's a lot easier said than done. We're having a hard time sustaining the population growth as it is. And the only reason that we can sustain this many people is based on the technology that we've invented, right? And the advancements in agriculture and stuff that have made it feasible and possible to do that. But if the West breaks down and a lot of things break down here, then, you know, a lot of people are going to be fucked. You know, we're like the breadbasket of the world. I think we are overpopulated. Like, okay, so look at the ocean first of all, right? A lot of the food that we get, if we were to stop fish farming, a lot of people would die, right? A lot of people would die because you can't get enough fish out of the ocean to do that. So, you know, they need to come up with better methods of fish farming, maybe do it in a better way, or whatnot. And yes, there's new technologies that are going to come around that, hey, now we can produce even more food or something. But, you know, infrastructure takes time to build. Buildings don't just come up overnight. We're already seeing a problem with our shelters, with stuff in Canada, because we keep importing mass immigration. We keep importing more people than we can fucking handle. And why do we need, like, it makes no sense that we're going to have, like, what are we all going to have 8 kids in the future? Like, that doesn't happen. Industrialized countries, people have less kids because, you know, any intelligent person understands that you can't supervise 10 kids very well, right? You like, I'm really like, one of my aunties has 10 kids or whatever, right? And she is a great mother and all this stuff. But, you know, you can devote more of your time to a few children as opposed to 10 children, right? And, you know, industrialized countries will have less kids naturally. So the only reason Africa and all these places are getting overpopulated, because they're getting overpopulated in Africa, is because we're giving them a lot of money. You know, if we didn't do that, they wouldn't be having 8 kids per woman like they are right now, and we would still be having less kids. Our population wouldn't be going up. Let's just say we stopped everything, we would start to have maybe 3 kids per person, which is good. It's above replacement rate. 3, 2, like that. That's probably what we would start to be doing. No, I'm not wrong about that. How are they having 8 kids and feeding them? You know how much money the West gives? But you steal resources and take them out, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are getting a lot of money and they're having 8 to 9 kids and they're living off of foreign aid. But Or no, it's the rich ones. The plastic clothes. I'm a vegan and not a race mixer like yourself. Oh, well, you're probably like a vegan and Hitler was great. Like the ocean, 90% less fish than 50 years ago. It's not sustainable. Race mixer. I'm a race mixer. But what do, you anonymous Jim Rogers? Call people race mixer on chats and shit. Yeah, man, I'll gladly race mix. The ocean has 90% less fish than 50 years ago. Right. Well, I agree with him on that point, though. Look at the relationship with coyote and the rabbit. There is a regulator above the macro. Yeah, but we're not in the natural world anymore, Slippin Lizard, though. Like, because of technology, this is not the applicable anymore, right? Like, our technology has taken us out of the natural realm of the food chain, right? Before, because we didn't have welfare, we didn't have all of this redistribution of wealth going on before, so that messes up the whole natural order of things. So now more and more stupid people are breeding, and they're going to keep breeding because smart people keep inventing technologies that allow them to live. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just true. Like, it's just the reality. I'm not saying we should stop progression, stop technology because it makes stupid people keep breeding and shit. But welfare and redistribution of wealth ruins everything, right? The whole socialism and government and the safety net aspect. See, the safety net doesn't exist in nature. That's why the lion and these things, they continue to evolve. They continue to progress to better suit their environment, whereas we're not progressing to better suit our environment. We're just becoming more and more dependent on the state. That is something that is not going to be there forever, and once it goes away and crumbles because it's no longer able to sustain itself, millions of people are going to die. Millions and millions of people are going to die because they're not they don't know how to survive. They're not in the environment. There's no pressures on them for them to do that. The pressures are on them are to be dependent on the state. Well, if let's just say there is an overpopulation or whatever, like you said, things will fix themselves, right? If there's too many rabbits and like I was saying before, like cities, there's too many people that live in cities, and because of technology today, yeah, it's more feasible. You can pack more people in one spot, but you go back to like the Aztecs or something. They had a big major city, but over time, too many people lived there. They started taking too many resources from the area that, over time they had to go too far of distance. It just wasn't, feasible anymore. They kind of ruined all the good land, and the thing about land too, is that you can't just keep, planting in the same spot. Sometimes you need to let land sit for a couple of years. And if you keep, there's only so much space for crops, and you say there's not an overpopulation, but I don't want to destroy more forests to build even more and get rid of more of our forests and more of our rainforests or whatever to make sure we have farmland to supply for the people and shit. It's like, it's not good. The more we grow, the more we're going to impact on nature as well, too. And I care about nature. I don't want it to be completely gone and vanished and just all farmlands now. No forests anymore. But once again, technology can change that. If they start building up and they start building like those I don't know, buildings, and they make a bunch of rows and shit, and maybe they could do that instead, and it could save a lot of land as well, and then they could grow the population. Well, of course we need cities, but I'm just saying that, like, if it grows too big, like, like a big metropolitan like California, they were running out of water a little while ago, right? And that's a city of, I don't know how many millions of people live there, but that's a lot of fucking people. Imagine if things break down there, like, man, that's going to be chaos. That's going to be utter fucking chaos. Just one nuke. Alpha something, not California or whatever, Los Angeles, I meant to say. Farms are actually disappearing and trying into subdivisions, right? Yeah, a lot of change, and a lot of people. Like, I grew up in a small town of a few hundred people, a farming community, and a lot of people my age, moved to the city. They moved to Brandon, they moved to other small towns, or they moved outside of Manitoba, because literally there's no work in my small town. There's like nothing there. The gas station isn't even functioning anymore. It doesn't even function. There was one store, there was like one restaurant, a bar. That's it. A school, a fire department. That's it. The town hall and some houses and shit. But everybody moves. A lot of people moved, and I moved because my parents divorced. Like, I didn't do it willingly or whatever, but now it would be hard for me to move back to the country, to be honest. Like, I'm so used to living in the city that it's hard for me to be completely out there. But then again, my dad's is way far out there. You know what I mean? Like, there's not even a Tim Hortons anywhere, like in town, or, there's a Tim Hortons maybe like in Russell, like 45 minutes away or something, right? Let's see this. Struggle, you are a roofer. You're right, Struggle. I am a roofer. I roof things. But yeah. Oh yeah, I still have those. But yeah, I was talking about vegan. So yeah, don't be vegan, guys. Don't feed your kids vegan food, okay? Don't do it. It's not good for you. Everybody, hit the like button, share, subscribe while you're at it. Everybody, go down in the description and join my Discord link if you have not already. I want people to go in there, share stuff, share links, news stories, all that good stuff. There's a bunch of people in there already. There's like 150 people. I share links, I share stories in there all the time. Usually, and usually about a lot of stuff that I'm probably going to cover maybe one day, or, maybe I'm thinking of covering, but I don't get the chance to do it. But, let me just copy paste this crap, put it in the chat for you guys. 1 second here. Paste. So yeah, there's the Discord link. If you're not in there already, go in there, join Slippin Lizard, go in there, join it. You can be a part of the discussion. Sinako is in there, always promoting a bunch of useless crap that I tell him to delete, but he doesn't. No, I'm kidding. No, he's good. He's got a lot of good information there. Run my remote. Let's see here. So I got another couple stories. Well, I got a few more actually. This is just hilarious, right? I'm not gonna like pay for the article, and I didn't bother archiving it, but this is from The Economist. Voters could make the world twice as rich. Why don't they? So hey guys, voters, why don't you vote for open borders? Because your country could be twice as rich, right? It's like, who wrote this? Who wrote this? What was the guy's name, for fuck's sakes? I don't know, but I'd just be interested to know. Imagine you are offered a job at triple your salary, but first you must pass through a locked door and someone with the key won't open it. You might be willing to pay them to let you through. Whether this is fair or not is beside the point. They have the key and you don't. If you gave them a portion of the increase and your wages, you would both be better off. This is not a bad analogy for global immigration policy. When migrants move from a poor country to a rich country, they typically make 3 to 6 times as much money as before. See our special report on this issue. If everyone who wanted to migrate were allowed to do so, the world would be, one estimate, be twice as rich. Yet this vast gain cannot be realized because most would-be migrants are forced to stay where they are. The door is locked and voters in rich countries hold the key. So guys, vote for open borders. What's wrong with you? You could be twice as rich. You're preventing all of this diversity and this tolerance and these people enriching your lives and making you richer. They didn't really say, they said they make more money when they come to this country. It doesn't say the country necessarily makes more money. What about if there's only see, this is the thing. They're not looking at all the numbers, because if they're just looking, they're probably just taking like economic migrants that come in specifically for specific jobs that they already have. A lot of the times it's already in like a decent paying field or whatnot, or even the regular ones, right? Like, yeah, of course they're going to be making more because our minimum wage here is probably more than they're fucking making in their country. Of course, them driving a cab or whatnot, they're making a ton of fucking money. But, that doesn't mean everybody coming into the country is going to be making more money. It's going to make your country richer. Like, a lot of people bring dependence into their country. And that's like, I don't know, 3/4 of the people within Canada are pretty much dependents. Like what was like 28% or 30% of them were people who are actually coming in for their skills, and the rest were like, family reunification, all this crap. And then a bunch of people are coming in and they're refugees who have low skills, who don't learn the language. A lot of them still don't know how to speak English or French, and they're not getting jobs, they're not being employed. And this is the same in Germany. This is the same in Sweden. They're not big, huge economic contributors, but it's going to make some people richer. It's going to make some rich globalist type people richer. I'm sure they're going to like it. But let me see what else here I got a couple more stories about working, essentially. CNN, Government Diversity Council. So this is in Canada here. So this is restaurant industry faces critical worker shortage as holiday demand peaks. So there are more than 67,000 vacant positions in bars and food service. So we need to open the borders, guys. Restaurants are facing a critical shortage of workers. And it's like, you know what? I've worked in a restaurant before. I was a cook. I was a dishwasher. I moved my way up to being a cook. And you make shit fucking money cooking, okay? You make no money. You make no money in tips, especially if you're a cook, depending on where you're working, I guess. Servers, they make good money. They make pretty good money for what they do, to be honest, compared to what the cooks are doing a lot of the times. But you know what? They're like, oh, we need to import 70,000 more people. It's like, well, maybe just pay people more money. The unemployment rate in Canada is still around 5% or more, close to 6%. That means there's 6% of people looking for work, but they can't find it, right? And there's a lot of other people that are not even on there that also are unemployed. They're just not looking for work. But you know what? A lot of people love to cook. I used to really like to cook, but you know what? The money was just not in there. I was like, you know what? There's a lot more money in roofing. I make better money working outside in the fucking cold. I'd rather do that than cooking, in the kitchen, which, I like to do, but, you're getting paid fucking practically minimum wage. You get your tips are fucking shit. And then they're like, oh, we're in dire need of fucking workers and this to work. It's like, just pay people more. Then more people will start to apply to be cooks instead of like, oh, we'll give you $12 an hour or something. But see, immigration, once again, it allows them to, they're like, oh, what's this fake shortage? All these businesses are going to shut down because we don't have these immigrants. They're all just going to plop. They're just going to stop doing business. They're not going to do anything anymore. It's like, Asian. It's like, man, no. Start hiring Canadians again. Fuck this shit. Fuck this foreign worker. We need more workers, and we need to increase their pathway to citizenship, make it quicker, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. Restaurants are facing a critical shortage of workers that's impeding new business and limiting capacity during the holiday season, a critical time of year for profitability, industry experts say. So, these guys are profiting. This guy, Hamat Bhagwani, who probably sends a lot of his money back to his home country and shit. How much of the money actually stays in the fucking economy? For fuck's sakes. Veteran chef and restaurant Hermant Bhagwani had planned to open his new restaurant Popa in Toronto's Bayview Village Shopping Center on December 1st, but still doesn't have enough staff to operate. For the key position of chef, not a single application has come in. Yeah, because once again, you're probably like, oh, for a chef position, well, I'll pay you $15 an hour to come in, do all their paperwork, do all this shit, be a chef, make sure everything, run the fucking kitchen, run everything. And, oh, we'll give you this. We'll give you $20 an hour or something. And you're like, that's a lot of work, man. I've worked in the kitchens. I've run kitchens. I've run areas. I haven't been a chef, but, I've been the manager and stuff in areas and Moxie's and other kitchens and stuff. And, it's a lot of work. And they pay you fucking shit. And a lot of those people, they're chefs, like, they're all coke heads and coke addicts and shit and drunks. Because, you get paid crap, but you get food. You get to eat food, and then you go to the bar that's connected right to the restaurant, and maybe you'll get some free drinks after from the bartender or something, right? So that's the perks of working in a kitchen and being like a chef a lot of the times. Like, there's some places that will give you more money being a chef, or they'll give you some better perks, but a lot of it is crap. A lot of it's not that great. So it's no wonder it's hard to find head chefs and shit. And it's like, what is it? Because it's your specific cuisine of food? Well, tough, man. Well, I need more immigrants here because nobody knows how to make Indian cuisine or something. Oh, well, that sucks, man. I don't know. Train some of your fucking kids. For the key position of chef, not a single application, said whatever. He specializes in Burmese cuisine, which he traveled to Myanmar to learn. So we need more Muslims from Myanmar and, Burmese Muslims here. Bhagwani said he's not holding out for a chef with specialized skills. I don't mind people from other cuisine. Mexican, French, I can train them. So, okay, well, at least he's doing that. In the third quarter of this year, the most recent period for which numbers are available, there were 67,000 vacant jobs in food service and drinking establishments across the country. But you know what? It's like that's no reason to open a border for food service jobs. There's literally no job pretty much where it's a good reason to open the border, right? I guess in the situation we're in right now, because so many people are poorly educated in Canada and all this shit, and they're not bothering to properly educate people and shit, that, there might be like not enough doctors or something like that at some point. I don't fucking know, but everything, they always just want to solve everything with immigration. Just boost the numbers. We need more people. It's like the numbers are already, Trudeau is already increasing the numbers every fucking year. But guys, we need more people because I can't expand my businesses. Oh, well, then you can't grow as fast as you want. I'm sorry. Then go back to India and grow your businesses there then and see how well you do. If you don't want to do that, then you're going to have to, grow your business a little bit slower, right? But, essentially, blah, blah, blah. It's a collision of demographic, economic forms. There are a number of reasons why this is the case, including that food service traditionally attract a young workforce for young workers are now a smaller population, Canadian under 25 and 48. So we need to import more young people, but we're projected to make up only 28%. So blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? People should not be eating at restaurants so often anyways. People should stop going out. You should stop wasting your money in restaurants, start going home, making your own food. Maybe a lot of people wouldn't be $200 away from bankruptcy if they didn't go and order from, skip the dishes every day and go eat at a restaurant every day, or go buy McDonald's every day or some bullshit. Yeah, stop eating that poison food. Stop promoting these dumb businesses a lot of the time. I'm not saying restaurant businesses are bad, but you don't need like 60 restaurant businesses for your fucking economy to flourish. It's like, no, they're not producing anything. They're making food that you're buying that tastes good, and that's good and all. Like, we should have good food, but like, that's not really benefiting your country in any way. Like, let's destroy the resources in Canada. Let's destroy the actual money makers, in Alberta that actually pays for everything. And then we'll just beef up the service industry and shit. We'll beef up that, because that's what they want our economy to be, a service industry economy. Right, exactly. They want to train people from other countries, but there's like, I was walking downtown, and I was walking next to this native guy, right? This short native guy, and we made eye contact for a second. So I was like, "Hey, how's it going? How are you?" And he's like, "Oh, how are you?" Right? And then we started walking, and I stopped at the bus shack, and we started walking across the bus shack, or across the crosswalk or whatever. And the guy was like, we started talking, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a welder and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I'm gonna try to go to," and he's telling me he sleeps in a tent downtown here. I'm like, "Fuck, man." I'm like, "It must get cold for you." And he's like, "Yeah, it's good though. The weather's nice right now." And I'm like, "How do you stay warm, man?" He's like, "I got 3 blankets to sleep underneath." And I'm like, "That's fucked up, man." I'm like, "That's terrible." And but he was telling me he was a welder, and as we were walking, and he's like, "I'm probably going to go up to Calgary when that pipeline starts working. And I know a friend that works there. I'm going to try to get work on the pipeline." And, and that's real life, man. Like, this is real people, like that guy who's literally sleeping in a fucking tent in Winnipeg when he could be in Calgary right now using his welding skills to make fucking money, right? And he's a native guy. And he was telling me, he's like, "I know my people will probably be mad at me, but I'm like, whatever, man." He's like, I'm like, half of those native elders are paid off by the Tides Foundation and all this shit, and the other half are for it. He's like, yeah. But he was just funny. He was like, "Oh, my people are gonna be mad at me." I'm like, whatever, man. You're a bum, and you're gonna maybe go up work north and do welding. Like, can somebody really they're gonna fault you for that? That's like, "Oh, you're ruining the land for the natives or something." It's like, no, the pipeline is going to be built along an existing route that is already built, which is fucking stupid. Yeah, right. But he was telling me that he was getting mugged. The reason he doesn't go to the shelters because he gets mugged in a lot of those shelters. And he's like, "Somebody stole my bag of clothes." He's like, "There's nothing valuable in my clothes." He's like, "It's just a pair of clothes and somebody stole it." I'm like, "Man, that sucks, buddy." I'm like, that's shitty. There's no pipeline. Check Google Maps. Pipeline is same as systemic. Both are imaginary. Yeah, if I don't know you, I'm not eager to eat what you cook me. Numerous food poisoning that taught me this. Food taster used to be high turnover profession. Yeah, right. Food taster. But yeah, right. It's you got to trust what other people make, man. I don't know if any of you guys have watched Nightmare Kitchen or Kitchen Nightmares and stuff. And I've worked in a few kitchens, man, and some people are gross. And I'm like, I would not eat from this person that works in my restaurant. You know, there was this one person, and I was like, no. This one girl, Ashley, and she was just drooling, and she was like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think she was retarded or something, but something wrong with her. I was like, no, I'll make my own sandwich. That's okay. Yeah, no, thank you. But you never know what you're gonna get. You never know how good those dishwashers are, man. You never know if they're doing a good job. You don't know if the people are cleaning the sinks properly, man. Like, they don't clean the sinks properly, and they just go throw a bunch of lettuce in a sink with water to like soak it. You're like, did you make sure you clean that out first before you put all that lettuce in there and shit? And see, I make sure everything I do is proper and shit, because I give a shit. But some people, you're just like, man, you're disgusting, right? So yeah, be careful who you trust, man. And some cultures are not very clean. Just telling you. he's sounded honest. I'm assuming you're gonna say so honest. But everybody hit that like, share button. Let me see what else I have to show you guys tonight, though. Tariq, okay, this is from the Pakistani Penguin here, but occasionally he releases some interesting things, right? So this is a Muslim cleric talking about Merry Christmas and how you shouldn't be, wishing people a Merry Christmas. And this is just an example of how, cultures don't mix, right? This guy clearly does not want to mix with Christians because he doesn't even want to wish them a Merry Christmas because it's against his religion, because it's saying that, like, there's some legitimacy behind Christ being the God or the Son of God. So, saying this is a worse sin than like killing and all this other crap, right?
No, we discussed this before, Akhi. In the lecture, Can I Celebrate This, which the sister mentioned, I dealt with
this guy looks like he's like 15 or something.
All these issues. You cannot say Merry Christmas, not even if an alien came and he told you, you cannot even say to him and say he's just an alien, I'm never going to see him again, he's not going to tell anyone. No Merry Christmas, not from a Muslim, not from a non-Muslim. It's not part of our deen, period. It's the concept that God was born on the 25th of December. That's as shirk and kufr as you can get. And you say Merry Christmas, saying congratulations on your false religion, congratulations on your false understanding of life. You are congratulating them on the most evil of shirk and kufr. And as Ibn Qayyim said, this is worse than fornication and drinking alcohol and killing someone. Because you're approving of the biggest crime ever committed by the children of Adam, shirk. And you're saying to someone, no problem, Merry Christmas to you. That's what you're saying. So and he said he's more knowledgeable than you. MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
But like, I don't care if that's what he believes. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I assume, but this is just why we can't live together. I'm fine with you thinking it's horrible that somebody's wishing a Merry Christmas legitimizes their religion above yours, because yeah, it probably does, or whatever. But when in Rome, do as the Romans do, or get the fuck out, right? Or get the fuck out, because this is the Christian country, and this is coming from an atheist. But if you can't even wish somebody a Merry fucking Christmas, then it's not gonna be good in the future. He can't even say that. He can't even do that. Bring himself to do that. Where I want people to at least see that and not just think that, oh, we can get along. All these religions can get along just fine. We all believe the same thing, really. We all believe in a God, and we all love, and we all this, and all religions are really the same deep down to their core. It's about peace, love, and unity, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, it isn't. No, they aren't. They're not the same. Religions are different. They don't meld. The biggest conflicts between people, even today, and throughout most of history was difference of religion. You know, it was the Christians against the Muslims. It was the Catholics against the Protestants. You know, like it's always religion. And now we think all of a sudden, 50 years or 100 years later, when people all thought like this, now all of a sudden we're all these people from these socially regressive countries are all of a sudden going to be all, freedom of religion and separation of church and state. It's like, no, that's our history. That's what we believe. That's what we do. That's how we think. That's not how they think. No, it's Allah. That's the religion. That's the religion that should be promoted by the state, by the government. No other religion should be here. There's not this all kumbaya where they all get together. They don't believe that. They don't want that. They don't want that at all. You know, if anything, maybe some of them don't want to completely overrun, but they're like, hey, I want to do things my own way in my own community. And you guys, you Westerners, just stay out of it. But it's like, fuck off, man. You guys came here and now we have to do all this shit. But, you know, and if you said the same thing, if some Christian priest was like, don't ever say happy Ramadan and happy Hanukkah to any of them, because, you know, that's just as bad as murdering, and it's as bad as sodomy and this and that. And everybody be like, look at this bigoted Catholic, or look at this bigoted Christian racist saying this. But, you know, something like this, they're not going to, really talk about. Did I see? Oh, I saw a super chat there. Thank you for being you. You are consistent and you stand by your beliefs. Oh, thank you, Santia Guerra. Really, thank you. Thank you for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. AJ, but you're Muslim. You said you like the Islamic Party of Ontario. Well, you know, you can't believe everything you see on TV, Max Hofo. You can't believe everything your eyes see, because your eyes can deceive you, and they deceive you every day, right? You know, I knew when I made that video that probably Derek or some other asshole was going to use that and and edit it and make it seem like I'm in support of Muslim and the Islamic Party of Ontario. I knew that was going to happen, but, you know, that's the risk you take when you do stuff like that. Get ready for the boogaloo. Christmas turned commercialized so long ago that even if you believe, it lost meaning. Right. Yeah, that's true. You know, it's so commercialized. I talked about that in my last video that I made. Everybody, if you haven't seen my last two videos, go and see them. I don't know if YouTube was promoting them or if you just didn't want to watch them. If that's the case, that's fine too. But if you didn't see them get promoted to your channel, go check them out. I think the last two were good videos. I think I did a good job on them or whatever. So, you know, I like them to get a little bit more views if possible. But let's see what else I can share for you guys today here. So let me see. Salon. Okay, so this is Salon, right? Salon. Hallmark movies are fascist propaganda. So Hallmark movies are fascist, right? And what do you know? The picture they use of, like, this is the only time when you see pictures that aren't diverse is when they're like, have less children. Then it's like a white baby or something, or it's like fascism and racism. all white couples, and this is the visual they use because it should be obvious, you know, just by looking at, you know, all the white couples, that Hallmark is really a fascist propaganda network that only ever promotes white couples because white supremacy and blah 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 blah. It's like, oh my god! And this is all because they didn't want to air that tranny or that gay commercial where there's two women kissing, and then they eventually succumb to the pressure and we're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Here you go. Okay, we'll air it. And you're like, man, and see, Now there's like, I think 1 million mothers that said they were going to like boycott Hallmark for doing that. So now you lost all of them. And now you still have Salon writing articles on December 25th saying Hallmark movies are fascist propaganda. Like, you just see people below like, huh? Get out, you know, so But yeah, man, like that's Salon for you, man. Like, see, I haven't paid attention to American politics in a while, so I used to go to Salon and read them, you know, all the time to see what they're promoting, but I don't see them anymore. And of course, they're releasing crap like that. I will watch. You are super cool and informative. I invested all my savings into Maple Leaf print hijabs and only sold 4 to Ottawa area. 1 large, 1 small, and 2 kids size. Are the Hallmark Christmas shows woke? You know, I don't think they're that woke. I think they're just typical Christian. You know, there's no swearing, and it's like, you know, family oriented. So it's so people that don't like, you know, raunchy shit and just like a nice movie that isn't filled with a bunch of crap, maybe political messages. It's just like a nice family type Christmas movie. That's white supremacy. That's too much for them. And all their movies, all TV needs to include some message in it about like climate change or diversity or sexism. Otherwise, it's shit. It's crap, right? It's a crap movie. Like, you know, I saw a bunch of, I don't know if, has anybody seen that movie Cats? Because I see a bunch of people complaining about it, like, you know, on Twitter, right? And I'm assuming it must be a good movie because I see all of these blue check marks saying, oh, this movie was terrible and this was such a waste of time and money and this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So whenever I see critics hate the movies and stuff and they hate them, then I assume that they're probably like good, or maybe they didn't have like a leftist message in it. So then they hated it because it wasn't just full of trannies and, you know, interracial couples and stuff. So maybe that's why they didn't like it. Maybe it was too white, you know, and that's a thing, you know, things are too white for them, you know, Oscar's too white. Oh, this too white. I think it was in Sweden. They had a commercial they released and it was only white people in the commercial and they had to take it down because they're like, oh, this is prejudice and this is white supremacy, etc. You should watch See Then. Now that's woke. You should watch See Then. What is See Then? But I still cry in the card aisle. Yeah, exactly. You know, Hallmark makes beautiful cards. Watch out for those taxi drivers in Brampton. Yeah, I had a story about taxi drivers and they're complaining about Uber. You know, they lost this huge $1.7 billion settlement that they were asking for because they wanted the city or the government to pay them for all the money that they lost because Uber came and started taking all of their business. And they're like, are you kidding me? Like, fuck these cab drivers. Because they're like, you know what? My license went from like being worth like $200,000 to being worth $4,500. And they're all complaining. I'm like, oh, well, sucks to be you. Too bad that you, you know, relied on a fucking monopolistic system to, you know, fuck everybody and to secure your wages and your livelihood. Too bad, man. You know, sometimes the chickens come home to roost or whatever, right? I don't know if that's the right saying, but they're complaining like, oh, we're losing all this money because we have more competition. Like, that's what it is. They're having competition and they're mad about it. They're like, oh my God, like anybody who supports, if you're not like a taxi driver and you support the taxi driver unions and what you're stupid. Like, you're just a dumb person. Like, you're really stupid and you need to like rethink what how your brain works. I don't know. You need to go take some courses on something because it just makes no sense that anybody would support a monopoly that gets to charge people whatever they want. I think that's a good idea. like, I can say that about a lot of things, but I don't want to insult too many people. Don't try this much. People will still like you, Alex Jones, man. You're not making any sense, Dino. Nah, AJ. Yes, AJ. You mean yes? They destroy our economy. Countries ban them. Richmond Hill is so sad. Used to be a wonderful, beautiful place. Not anymore. Yeah, it used to be. It used to be, but now it's Chinaland. Thanks for reading my text. No problem, man. I'll if I catch people's stuff, I'll read them. If you put my name and you highlight my name, I'll probably see it too. That will be more likely. But yeah, unions are shit. They do nothing. I'm not against all unions. If it's a union that is not being supported by the government in any way, like when I was trying to get out of my union for work, we had to all sign something the same exact day at 5 o'clock. And if somebody didn't do it, then it would all be null and you have to wait 2 years to do it again. And then it was just there was so many loopholes, and I'm surprised we even got out of it, to be honest. And I'm like, this is crazy. But they don't want you to leave, and they're like, oh, without us, you'll be making nothing. Like, okay, all right. Yeah, without us, we would have no wages, and we wouldn't have days off and breaks or anything like that. Yeah, thank you, unions, for doing all that good stuff for us. But nowadays, maybe that's true, but nowadays you're just a succubus that takes money for nothing. A lot of the times they do nothing for you. They'll do something for the occasional person to make it seem like they're fighting for people, but most of the time they don't do shit. Have to become guilds instead, right? Well, that's what they were initially, right? Guilds, and that was like the unions, and you can't do armory, and you can't forge things if you're not a part of the Armory Guild or the Forger Guild or the Thieves Guild, right? I don't know. You can't steal. You're not allowed to unless you're a part of the guild, right? It's the same thing. But like union, I don't know if it was created by the mafia, probably, but see, the idea that people getting together to collectively bargain, that's not a bad idea, right? Like if you're working for an employer, and I have no issue with people getting together and saying, hey, we're all going to strike, or we're going to do this if you don't pay us more money, or if you don't treat us better in the work, and we're going to collectively work together to bargain with you, because it is harder to bargain one-on-one with your employer. It's easier to bargain as a group because you'll have more power against that person when it comes to that situation. So, that unions are not bad in the sense, like, they're not against the non-aggression principle. They can be a part of the free market. It's when the government gets involved and starts empowering these unions. Teamsters was created by the mob. Yeah, right. Yeah, I can assume. I probably right, but I'm saying, like, I don't know about the idea of unions, if that was created by the mob, right? Like the idea of unions and unionizing type thing, right? Unions originally formed to protect workers from brutal employers, but then they became too powerful, and, well, that old saying, right? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Unions, the types of unions, but all I'm saying is that I'm not against people working together to get a better deal from their boss, right? Like this is what is going on with that story I showed earlier, where they're saying there's a massive shortage of workers in the service industry, and we need to import all these people to work as chefs and workers in the restaurants. See, that's the whole thing with supply and demand. See, they're trying to weaken your bargaining power by importing more people, which increases the supply, which lowers the demand. So with a lower demand of worker, that means they can pay people less money. So with less people, we have more power to ask for a better wage from our employers, like these restaurant business owners and whatnot that pay you practically nothing, because they can pay you practically nothing because they can get some Indian, Chinese, whatever guy, Mexican, to come in and do that same job for the price that you're not willing to do it for, right? But some of them lay you off right before full-time hours so they don't have to pay more. Yeah, exactly. These laws, they come into place to try to protect people and say, okay, you have to pay workers overtime now. You know what they do? They'll just cut everybody's hours and say, okay, nobody's working overtime anymore, and we're not going to pay you overtime for driving time. They'll find all these little ways not to pay you overtime anyways and shit. Or like I said, they'll cut your hours or whatnot. Do some shady bullshit. When really just stop importing immigrants, stop importing people, and our wages will go up. Our wages will go up. Things will be better. Working conditions will be better. Right. But what's the cost of living in Fort Mac, though? I don't know. It might be a little bit higher. But, the minimum wage here is like, I think $11 or almost $12 now. So, but here's one thing I want to show you guys as well. So I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you've ever watched this lecture, but remember Yuri Bezmenov, well-known lecturer on the process of subversion removed from YouTube for hate speech. So, this guy's great video that goes in and pretty much like very well explains what's going on right now is going to be removed from YouTube for fucking hate speech. Like, are you kidding me? What hate speech was in this? There was none. There was no hate speech. But, once again, but hey, you can go on BitChute, find it there. If nobody's seen the video, here, I'll share it, I guess. I'll put it in the description. Is it sharing right now? Can you guys see the video? Let me see here. No, I don't think so. But yeah, here, check out the actual video. One sec here. Paste. Take it easy, Slippin. Have a good one. But yeah, that's the video. Go check them out on BitChute if you have not seen this video already. Great video. Here, one sec here. 1 second here. I'll stop sharing this. I don't know if you guys want.
But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of the entire.
Is not in the area of the entire thing. So I don't know if you guys have seen that video. I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, if you want to watch it, let me know. Go watch it, guys. Yeah. Johnson says poop shoot. If everything, I apologize for my crazy messages. My phone is broken and changes my words up. Not a problem, Kevin. I didn't really notice. In Ontario, minimum wage is $14 an hour, but the cost is everything went up because of it. Yeah, right. So that's the thing, right? They say, oh, we're going to raise minimum wage, but, the cost of everything goes up. Like people, they're going to have to pay for that. Like the employer, they're going to put that cost on to the customer. If you increase their costs, they're just going to put it onto you. But, you have a lot of useful idiots that just think, oh, just tax them more and raise it to $50 and everything will be fine. Like, this is why these idiots, this is why they can get away with a lot of stuff, because people, vote for this. They vote for it. But yeah, go check out that video. It's removed from YouTube, but it's a really informative video, really good. I think it explains a lot of what has happened to the educational system, to the media, the slow crawl through the systems or whatever. But this is a video from CNN. So this is from a little while ago, December 19th. So Amy Klobuchar's message to white Americans who are uncomfortable with the idea of becoming a racial minority. I say, this is America. You're looking at it.
Is expected to be majority non-white within a generation. What do you say to white Americans who are uncomfortable with the idea of becoming a racial minority, even if you don't share their concerns?
I say, this is America. You're looking at it. And we are not going to be able to succeed.
I say, shut the fuck up, and I'm not going to address your concerns. This is America. Get used to it, essentially.
In the world if we do not invite everyone to be part of our economy. Our Constitution says that we strive for a more perfect union. Well, that's what we are doing right now. And to me, that means, one, that everyone can vote, and that includes our communities of color.
So they weren't allowed to vote before? Is that what you're saying? Like, what I really believe is that black people should be allowed to vote. It's like, they have been allowed to vote. And women should be allowed to vote too. It's like, they already have the vote, you idiot. But, this is the one part. It's like, we need them for our economy. Like, how did America become the richest fucking country in the world? Slavery, because of picking cotton. They pick cotton, that's why. No, okay. Why all European countries richer than the majority of the fucking world, other than like fucking Saudi Arabian oil barons and shit like that? Like, and China now, because we've sold out to them for fucking the past 30 years with NAFTA and all these other trade deals. It completely fucked our industries and our countries. But, we need you for the economy.
Succeed in the world if we do not invite everyone to be part of our...
See, you won't succeed in the world. China, we got to watch out for China, guys, because they're going to overpass us and they're going to overpass America. But they're a homogeneous country. How are they going to do that if they don't have diversity? How are they going to keep up if they're not diverse? Like, why don't they think about that? They're like, well, how come this country's going to surpass us? And diversity is our strength. We know diversity brings wealth and money and power. And all these non-diverse countries are raising their wealth and income. It's like, what? No, you don't need a diverse country to be fucking wealthy. Americans, they were fine before. It has to do with policies. Economic policies, freedoms, private property, allowing like the free market. If you have everything done socially, if you have, the government influencing trade, if you have a bunch of regulations on whether or not you can build a pipeline here or there, whether or not you can transport this here or there, that's going to affect your economy. Before, when there wasn't so much red tape, your economy could flourish, it could function, and we were doing just fine before. America was doing just fine before. They were the most educated population. They were the most literate before anybody else, the richest per person before anybody else, and still are the richest, even though they've completely, turned away from what got them to be such a great country to begin with. But yeah, this is the idea. This is the rhetoric. Just import more people. That's how you make your country great. If Canada wants to be competitive, we need to increase our population to 100 million people, right? Which is crazy. That's not going to do anything for our economy. Well, let's see what else I got here for you guys. So the day after Christmas. Oh yeah. So this is another thing from Christmas. So outrage as Netflix makes Jesus gay for Christmas special. So, a Brazilian comedy group and Netflix faced a huge backlash after releasing a Christmas special parody shows where Jesus is gay. The Netflix film, Christ depicts a 30-year-old Jesus Christ as gay and taking his boyfriend Orlando to meet his parents, Mary and Joseph. As a result, over 1 million people took the signing petition to ban the film for seriously offending Christians. But, you would know something like this you wouldn't be able to get away with this with anything else. If it was like Muslim, those people would be shot and killed. Probably it'd be another Je suis Charlie event. But this just shows you how tolerant Christians really are. Like, people that they could go out and kill some people for all the shit that's constantly being flung their way, but they don't, because they turn the other cheek. And they know they can get away with, constantly making Jesus gay. Like, for fuck's sakes, man. Like, how many passages are there in the Bible saying gay is wrong? Do not lay with another man. Well, Jesus is really gay, he's probably gay. And, whatever, free, you can have whatever interpretation you want. I don't even care if it's on Netflix and shit, but I just want there not to be a double standard where if I want to make fun of Muhammad and make fun of him and call him a pedophile or do all this shit, then I don't want to be called an Islamophobe. And I understand I can't do anything about the crazies who want to kill me, because those crazies are just that's just a part of their fucking religion. They're gonna do that. But all the religions should be fair game. But it just seems like it's only Christianity and Catholicism, and primarily Catholicism a lot of the times, which is the thing that you're allowed to make fun of, that you're allowed to criticize, that you're allowed to, debase and stuff. But that's what they do. Let's see what else I got here, guys. Chrome terribly for the year. Oh yeah, so Winnipeg, we already beat our record with homicides, which is pretty crazy. But let me check out this here first. So Burger King's Impossible Burger has 18 million times more estrogen than regular Whopper. So, don't eat their Impossible Burger. You're gonna get man tits if you do. So what is their Impossible Burger? Like, what is it supposed to be? Is it something like some no meat type burger, right? And this is what it does. See all this shit. Soy. If you eat too much soy, that can fuck with your estrogen. Like, I'm pretty sure you have to eat like a lot of fucking soy. Like, it's not just a small amount. But come on, guys. Like first of all, people shouldn't be eating fast food all the time anyways, and I'm guilty of it too. I eat fast food. I'm no fucking saint or anything, but that's something we need to stop eating for sure and start actually saving our money. See, you know what will help the economy? Not bringing in 70,000 people to go work at Burger King and restaurants and shit, but if people actually save their money, didn't spend it on poison food and put that in their savings account, their bank accounts and stuff, and that would probably help the economy a lot more than just keeping making people unhealthy and then costing taxpayers even more money when they go and they're fat as shit and they're like, oh, give me a liposuction for free because free healthcare and all this crap. And fat people, because of free healthcare as well too, like they're going to cost the taxpayers way more than anybody else, because they're always going to the doctors, they're always doing this, they're going to have way more health effects. And and then what does that do? Because of socialized healthcare, and because there's fat slobs that are unhealthy and shit, and they're going to die early, they're going to say, hey, you know what? Now we're going to tax this food even more. So then, the people who do eat it moderately and do kind of just eat it as like, the way it's supposed to be eaten or whatever, occasionally they get punished for it, right? Everything else, they're just going to tax more because they want to, decrease they want to make fat people stop eating this shit, but they still eat it. We're still getting fatter and fatter every year. So taxing us isn't doing anything for us. It's just taking more of our money. You need to grow up. Agree. Turn your swords into plowshares. Don't eat any more of those American brands. Yeah, exactly. Burger King too. What did they come out? Weren't they? Didn't they do something recently where? Oh yeah, they were saying for Nigel Farage, where they're like, hey, McDonald's won't sell you a milkshake. We'll sell you a milkshake to throw it at people. Or they didn't say that exactly, but they were kind of alluding to that. And then they had to come out and apologize for, saying that they're essentially promoting throwing milkshakes on far right-wing racist politicians like Nigel Farage. Dan, stop messing with people, Dino. Stop doing that. Big Mac equals human mixed meat. Jews. So let's see here. 1 second. Filmmaker. Stop screen share. Let me share something else here, guys, with you. Terrible year. Okay. One flaw. Okay, so this is from Australia. Government Diversity Council urges word Christmas to be dropped. So Christmas may offend non-Christians, according to Australia's Diversity Council. So Australia's Diversity Council is urging business to drop the word Christmas to describe festive events at the end of the year out of fear non-Christians may get offended. Employers are being told to use more inclusive language, such as holiday greetings, instead of more traditional words in reference to Christmas. Diversity Council Australia wants businesses to be inclusive of all traditions, celebrating holidays including Jewish Hanukkah, Buddhist Bodhi Day, Islamic Ramadan, and Hindu, according to Daily Mail. So you're allowed to say Hanukkah and Buddhist Day and Happy Ramadan, but when a Christian's holiday comes along and it's the birth of Jesus Christ, well, you shouldn't say Merry Christmas, but you should still say Happy Hanukkah and Ramadan and Diwali and Buddhadi Day or whatever. That's fine, because that's being inclusive. But to be inclusive for these people, and a lot of them, let's be clear, like a lot of these immigrants are not asking us to be like this. They're not asking us not to say Merry Christmas, other than that, like that Muslim guy you saw. But it's these Marxist leftists that are promoting this shit. And they're like, yeah, you can't say Happy Merry Christmas. But it's like, Christmas is a holiday. Okay? Same as Ramadan, same as all these things. You're not just going to say holiday. Basketball is a sport. You don't just say, I'm going to go play a sport today. I'm going to go play sports today. It's like, well, what sport are you going to go play? Basketball? Yeah, because religions, holidays, happy holidays. Well, which holiday? It's Christmas. It's Christmas. the Christian holiday. But apparently being Christian offends people. Just being Christian on your holidays offends people. And, to be more inclusive, you should stop that. Fuck these people. If you have Christmas celebrations, try to make sure it's inclusive of other faiths as well. Because the office is for everybody. No. Miss Anne went on to say, it's worth noting that many Australians do not celebrate Christmas. So, either as followers of non-Christian religions or as no religious affiliation. So, what does that matter? What does that matter? So next time Ramadan comes along, I'm going to say, hey, stop fucking celebrating this shit. I'm not Muslim. I don't want you to celebrate it. Stop it. But you know what would happen? You're a racist. You're a piece of shit.
How could you say that? See, this is more Islamophobia that's in the era of Trump.
She goes on to recommend celebrating the Christmas and New Year together so that everyone is on board with the company's vision for the new year. So, fuck this stupid bitch. Diversity is our strength. Diversity. Oh my God. But really, it's like the biggest weakness ever. Obviously, some diversity is fine, like of ideas and diversity of thought. That's why I hate how the left has kind of like bastardized that word diversity to now it's like anytime anybody uses it, you think of like the leftist way and how they use it when you're like, no, like diversity in nature is good. Like, diversity of plants and ideas and all this other crap. But start saying happy holidays during Bombathon. Yeah, exactly right. Kevin, it is exactly. It's our holiday. If you don't like Christmas, that's okay. And you can fuck off. Yeah, exactly. It's, you come to a country where the majority of people are Christian. They have a Christian heritage. They've had that heritage for thousands of years. And now everything needs to be changed because people that were uninvited come into the country and now want to change things and stuff. And like I said, it's not even like necessarily these immigrants that are saying. I know a lot of immigrants that will happily say happy Merry Christmas and shit, right? But it's these people on behalf of the immigrants that say, hey, we need to ban this stuff to protect their feelings, when their feelings aren't even hurt a lot of the times. But see, what this does, it creates more division among groups of people, because then some people are mad. They're going to be mad at those groups of people and be like, see, you want me to do this and that, when, maybe a lot of them don't. But at the end of the day, but then again, I showed you that one video, that Muslim guy who said, do not wish people Merry Christmas because it's just as bad as killing people. So, there are also people we're bringing into the country who don't like Christianity, who want to put a Islamic caliphate in place because they're Muslim. And why wouldn't they want that? Especially if they're very religious. Like, let's say, like, that's what they want. They want to live in a caliphate. They want, like, that's what they think is right. That's what they think is true, is correct. Let's see what else I have to share here. Doctors, burgers, Mora, hands down, British people. Okay, so this is some racist bitch talking about white British people. So let's see here. So Mora Mir, so a blue check mark. I don't know who she is. Writer, producer, associate, segment producer, showed blah blah blah. I'm in New York Times mag, GQ magazine, etc. It was a joke. Sorry. Okay, what? You're not making any sense. But she goes on. This had 100,000 likes and 10,000 retweets. Now, once again, switch British, white with Jew or black. Hands down, Israeli people are the worst of the Jews. What did you contribute? Empire, boiled meat with no seasoning, capitalism. Hugh Grant was lying out of his ass in Love Actually. At least Italians could cook. Greeks invented plays or whatever. I like French movies. So, they're all mad because Boris Johnson won. And I don't get to freely roam through Europe anymore and exploit all the things they created. And I don't get to complain and bitch and moan about being oppressed, even though your life is way better than it is from the shithole you fucking came from, you stupid fucking whore, And it's like, fuck this stupid bitch. Hands down, say this about any other group of people, she would be removed from Twitter immediately, and she'd be canceled. Her family would be doxxed. People would be going and getting her fired. They would be looking, searching for her, and they'd have a whole army of Black Lives Matter and Antifa all looking up everything she's ever done in her life, right? But she's probably gonna get a job at BBC or something as like the head news anchor, probably pretty soon, right? Most definitely. Hands down, British people are the worst of the whites. What did you contribute? Empire, boiled meat with no seasoning, capitalism. Okay, well, they didn't invent capitalism. There was a bunch of people that kind of like led up to the invention of capitalism, but the British people invented a lot of good shit. They did a lot of good. Like they did invent a lot of good things. And I'm French. I don't care. Like the British Empire was great. They're one of the greatest empires to ever exist. They did a lot of good for the world. They stopped slavery in a lot of places. And I know leftists have some argument against that argument and be like, oh, well, they shouldn't have been doing it to begin with. So it's not a big deal that they stopped slavery because they shouldn't have been doing it. Well, people still do slavery today. They are just better than all of the rest of you because they decided to stop it. Whereas everybody else keeps doing it. And they had to force you to stop doing it. Don't act like, people, a lot of other countries, the reason they didn't enslave other groups of people isn't because they're better or they're nicer. It's because they're poor. They weren't advanced technologically. They didn't have the same weapon capabilities. But if they did, you can be 100% sure that they would, because the natives enslaved other natives, black people enslaved other black people and other tribes. Oh, but that's not chattel slavery. And chattel slavery is a completely different thing. And blah, blah. This is fine. That slavery is fine, but chattel slavery is worse because it's a race and it's a people and yada, 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 right? Trying to dismiss all other types of slavery and say, chattel slavery in America was bad, right? But it still doesn't explain anything to do with Europe or whatnot. But, because they had colonies. They didn't have slavery either, right? They didn't have slavery like they did in America. Neither did most of Europe. They had colonies. Hands down, British people are the worst. And that's not like a joke, they just eat boiled meat with no seasoning and all that crap. Capitalism. And then even the things that are like, oh, well, at least Italians can cook. Greeks invented plays or whatever. No, they invented like the philosophy, a lot of the structure, a lot of what the Greeks invented, a lot of what our society is founded upon right the fuck now. A lot of the laws, a lot of the like we still use a lot of their words to describe, we still use a lot of their systems, or we slightly tweaked differently, a republic, a fucking democracy. They're good at cooking and inventing plays and whatever. I think they did a little bit more than plays and shit. And the French did a little bit more than make good fucking movies, for fuck's sakes. Charlemagne, the Franks were they're the father of fucking Europe to begin with. But nonetheless, it's like, what do these people do? And you're like, see, this is the respect that people have when they enter in your country. Whereas like, you wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't go into China and say the same shit. And be like, what the fuck do the Chinese do? These fucking Chinese are shit. And then you have a huge section of their population liking this. Like, this wouldn't, like, she would be thrown in a camp right now in China. She would be thrown in a camp. I'm not saying we should do that, but she would be thrown in a camp with the Uyghur Muslims. And they'd be like trying to force her to marry some Chinese guy because they fucked up their population with the whole one-child policy thing. So they'll be like, yeah, you breed with that Chinese man now. But here and in the West, where apparently you're being oppressed and it's horrible and racism, Boris Johnson, Brexit, you can say this and you can get away with it. You'll even probably be promoted for it. You'll be loved for it.
I'll say a fraction of something like that, and I'll be banned from Twitter. I am banned from Twitter from saying not even close to what the fuck she said there, but I'm banned from Twitter for life. I can't make a new account, but this is fine, and 100,000 people like it. Promote it. That's very telling about the mindset of the people that are entering in the UK and the way that they think. And when really they should be kissing the feet of the people from the UK and say, thank you for letting me into your country. Thank you for letting me escape this poverty-stricken hellhole that I was in. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you. But instead it's, you're racist. You have no seasoning to your food. What did you contribute to civilization? It's like, okay, do you really want to compare England to what they contributed to probably what you contributed and what your country contributed? Because I don't think you want to make that comparison. I really don't think you want to do that, because you're gonna be made to look like a fucking fool, and you're gonna feel very bad about yourself, because you're gonna be like, well, shit, we didn't do anything. We didn't invent fucking anything. And I don't know. I'm just saying from her country. I'm not saying black people or whatever didn't invent anything. They have invented things, of course, right? But I'm saying if you take, like, I don't know, Somalia, or you take some country like Somalia and you put it next to a country like the UK, and you're like, achievements globally. It's not even going to be a competition. Like I said, it's going to be sad. I don't even want to do it, because that would be like, I would feel bad afterwards. And I'd be like, sorry, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel bad, but you forced my hand. You want to say shit like that. Do you want me to go into it? Do you want me to start to put this shit side by side? Because, like I said, it's unnecessary, right? We shouldn't be having these back and forth arguments about whose country is worse, or who created more, developed more. It's pointless a lot of the times. It's like, do you want to be free? Do I want to be free? Do you want to live in a safe society, a comfortable society? Yes. Okay. Can we agree on that? I'm not racist at all. I just unjust in Alberta. AJ, go do other things, a radio station, not this sincerely. Shut up, Dino. What you just say a bunch of shit, and I'm eventually gonna ban you from my channel, because you're starting to fucking piss me off with, like, just constantly saying shit in the chat and whatnot. So, calm your fucking horses, because I'm dealing with your shit, and I've kind of like just ignored it for a long time. But you say a lot of random shit that I don't know what the fuck you're saying half the time. Like, it's just random, and then you're like, AJ, did you block me? Did you block me? I'm like, I didn't block you. I'm like, I see you writing right here. You're like, AJ's blocking me. And I'm like, fuck's sakes, man, get your shit together, or get the fuck out of here with that shit. Because it's just bothering me. Yes, I see you, but I'm going to block you, because I do see everything. I see it all. I don't see everything, but I see enough that if I just see somebody constantly like saying shit and that's all I'm reading, then I'm like, okay, man, let other people write shit. So I'll read their stuff instead. Okay, you want me to do it? All right, he asked for it. Watch. This is what he's going to do. He's going to go on everybody's channel. AJ blocked me. AJ hates free speech and he blocked me. AJ blocked me. What people do, there's a bunch of fucking faggots online, or a bunch of fags on Twitter or on YouTube and shit. And it's annoying, man. Honestly, the worst people are people that used to follow my channel. The worst people are people that used to like my content, because I say something bad or I say something, and then they're just I'm not saying that's Dino specifically, but like just some other people. You're like, oh my God, leave me alone. It's been a year since I said this to you. And you're still like, oh, AJ's this today. I was like, oh my God, this person, like, you hold a grudge for fuck's sakes. Like, you don't need to say it directly about a specific person, but they'll take it like the heart. And you're like, just go be a fucking snowflake somewhere else. And then I have a couple other leftist haters that like to go in my chats, in my videos, and be like, you're being replaced. You're going to get replaced. White people are the devil, and white people deserve to die. And you get what's coming to you because you stole the natives' land. And it's like, oh, wait, yeah, all right. See, I don't ban those people. I just leave them. Leave them be, whatever. Just tell us your prob. Good. How was your Christmas? Be careful, Julie. He might like it. Dino, are you a Hasbara? He probably is. But no. I don't know. Dino, you're fine. You're okay. But I'm just saying, you just say a bunch of random shit. It gets a little annoying sometimes. But speaking of Christmas, I got a couple more things to share, I guess, of that. So woman punches person repeatedly after they wished her a Merry Christmas. So, don't wish this lady a Merry Christmas. That's pretty much all. Don't wish her a Merry Christmas. I don't know if it probably even had anything to do with her hating Christians or anything. She's probably just like some crazy lady. And if somebody said, how are you doing today? She probably would have attacked them too. But that's kind of fucked up. But we know if it wasn't, and if it was like a Muslim or something and the person was white and they attacked them, then it would be an Islamophobic incident. But, I'm not going to play the leftist game, and I'm not going to say, oh, this is clearly anti-Christian and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know, that woman looked like a drug addict. And, she probably would have attacked anybody. She doesn't seem Muslim. She doesn't seem like anything like that. And a lot of Black Americans are religious in America and Christians, a lot of them. So she probably is a Christian herself. But see, I'm not going to make it some big issue. Black people attacking. And I wonder what race of the person that was too, right? If it was a white person on top of that, we know if it was, once again, if it was a white person attacking like a Black Muslim and being like, after they said, Happy Ramadan, it would be Islamophobic attack issue. And we hear about it in the news, and Trudeau would come out and apologize and, make a huge big stink about it. But let's see here. So what else we got? I also got that Trump thing where CBC deleted, the thing with Trump or whatever. But, I don't know. They're like, they came out and they said, what do you call it? They said, we already deleted those scenes in 2014. And we already edited 8 minutes out of the movie or some bullshit like that. So, I don't know. You can't really call them on it, I guess. You can't really prove that they didn't. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can prove that they didn't or they did. But it doesn't look good for them, especially. It doesn't really look good considering they cut out that. And you know what? It makes you think, because, the media and all that stuff, they want most people to think that Trump is like, Hitler, right? A horrible, horrible guy. And anytime there's something positive about him, everybody loses their shit. Like, I can't remember. What was it? Jimmy Fallon rubbed his head during the election, like during an interview, and it was like, rubbed his head. And he almost lost his job for that. He had to come out and like, I'm sorry, Trump is a horrible, he's like Hitler, essentially. He had to come out and just completely change his position. And, but like, the CBC, they cut this out. And it's because they don't want regular people to see, what the guy they've been demonizing for the past 4 years as like Hitler, in a regular, normal light, right? You know, like the people will be at home watching TV and they'll be watching the movie and they'll be like, they'll see Trump and he'll be like, "Hey, Home Alone, how are you?" Or whatever the fuck he said to him. And that's too much. That's too much for them because then, oh wait, he's human. Oh wait, no, we can't. We gotta remove that. We gotta make sure they think he's like some crazy lunatic, racist, hateful, subhuman. Dehumanize them as much as possible. But whether or not you like Trump, it doesn't really matter because they're dehumanizing him to dehumanize you, by proxy. They come out and they say Trump is Hitler, this and that, and then they say everybody who supports him is bad, is just as bad. Just like Michael Moore was doing earlier in the video I showed earlier, where he said that, if you see a white person, you should cross the street. Because if you see 3 white guys, 2 out of those 3 white guys voted for Trump and they're bad people and you should cross the street. Like, it's total insanity, right? And that's what they want. They want everybody who supported him, which is what, right? Why do people support him, right? Had to do with the economy and it had to do with immigration. And they want anybody who supports ideas of lowering immigration and not selling us out to the Chinese and whatnot through NAFTA and all these trade deals. They want to demonize those people. They're bad. They're all horrible people. If you want less immigration, you're terrible. That they did that to Maxime Bernier. It's pretty obvious to see this now. You see the pattern over and over and over again. It's the same exact thing. And you're like, okay, these people. Hopefully people start waking up to this shit because it's pretty obvious. The same lines, the same rhetoric for each and every person. Brexit happened. They tie that in with the rise of Trump and the rise of populism. What is populism? Listening to the will of the people. They're demonizing the will of the people a lot of the times. They're like, oh, but I thought you guys loved democracy. I thought you loved democracy and one person, one vote, all this bullshit. But when it comes to populism, then no, then democracy, then the people's wills and the majority, then their opinions don't really matter, right? But only when it suits us. Let's see here. So what else? I got a couple more things I want to share with you guys. So filmmaker fantasizes about killing Jewish traitor Laura Loomer. So the filmmaker called Laura Loomer, Dave Rubin, and Eric Weinstein traitors to their fellow Jews. See, once again, just more. See, how is she a traitor to her fellow Jews? Because she supports Trump, who like made Israel, who made Jerusalem like the fucking capital or something. I don't know. He's done lots of shit for Israel, but apparently Loomer, Rubin are all traitors to Jews. And I remember Michael Moore, he's talking about how he's a white traitor and how they call it. Well, these people are calling her, like Laura Loomer, a Jew traitor because she supports Trump, which once again, they're trying to make you think that Trump, hates Jews and is really, so they're like, she must be a traitor to Jews because if she supports Trump, who's clearly like Hitler, then clearly she's pretty much just like George Soros, who sold out all the Jews, who actually is a traitor to his fellow Jews, but that guy they love that guy, but her like. And I'm not even a fan of Laura Loomer, man. I've made fun of her plenty of times, and I've made videos about her because I think she's a grifter. But nonetheless, she is banned from Uber. She's banned from like Lyft. She's banned from Airbnb. Like she's banned from all these things. But then this guy wants her dead. Like so the guy Lauren Feldman. This is his tweet. So the Maccabees killed every Greek possible, but also the Jews who joined Greek society. The traitors, I love this part of the story. Today, that would be Jews like David Rubin, Laura Loomer, Eric Weinstein, traitors to their fellow Jews. So that's some fucked up shit to say. and he's not going to get banned for this, like essentially alluding that they should kill the Jews, the traitor Jews. Like, you know, in ancient, and the Maccabees killed every Greek possible, but also the Jews who joined Greek society. You know, so that was a killable offense to this guy for joining the Greek society. Probably is a killable offense to this guy. He's probably like, those fucking damn goys, and turn into a goy. Traitors. I love this part of the story. And you love that part of the story? Like that's some psychotic shit. Like, how do you write this on Twitter and not like think to delete it? Like, you wrote this, you reread it a few times probably to make sure it's all accurately spelled and shit. And I'm sure you reread it, but you decided to post it anyways, which is fucked up. Hey, freedom of speech, I'm fine with you saying that, but it's fucked up. And if I get banned for arguing with people, maybe you should get banned for that. But yes, we all know that, you know, Twitter does not apply the rules, you know, evenly or whatever. But, you know, Facebook is condoning violence and keeping a list of approved targets for its directed violence. I'll be sharing this with AG Barr. So yeah, Facebook literally changed their rules to say it's okay to murder Laura Loomer. Why is the media allowing her to be treated this way? So yeah, they changed the rule, like to allow, you know, people to essentially say, like, you know, she should be killed or whatever, whereas they don't allow that to be said about other people. But for some reason, you could say that about like right-wing personalities and stuff on Twitter and Facebook. That's okay. You can call for their deaths. That's not a big issue. You know, that's fine. You know, that nothing bad is going to come from calling for the deaths and for punching Nazis. Nothing bad is going to come of that, except for, like, you know, this 13-year-old kid who was attacked for being white and a real Trump supporter. Him and his older brother were called names and beat with a mallet. Breaking my youngest son, 13, knows racism is real and not one-sided. Help us seek justice. So let's see this. You know, we know that these people, if they were black or any other race, would be a much bigger issue. But, you know, these kids, people get attacked just for wearing a Trump hat all the time or whatnot, saying, there's another video I have, some kid being attacked like a bus for saying something about Trump, etc. He supports Trump, you know, and this rhetoric about, you know, if they're bad people, like Michael Moore was saying, they're bad people, you need to cross the street, this or that. Like, you know, all these people are traitors to the Jews, you know, countless things that obviously crazy people are going to think anybody who supports them are also fucking Nazis or horrible people. They aren't trying to hear this out, though. A broken nose would have been clear as day. You would have been able to see the shift in each picture. Shaking my head. So essentially, people are saying they don't believe it, right? See, but look at this. I love this now because I remember after a person would say something, like a white person, and they'd be like, look at this white Betty being racist to black people. And you say, well, what did they say before the video? And what did they say before the video started being filmed? And a lot of people say that this is racist to ask that. Like, I remember somebody wrote a whole article. They said, oh, it's racist to ask what happened before the video started filming. But, you know, was her son saying racist things? People always leaving out major part of the backstory. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you care now. Look at all 9,000, 12,000. He'll be fine. Put some iced privileged on it. That was a good one. Laughing my ass off. We are trying. Local police told us we are limited because it didn't happen in front of them. I won't stay quiet, though. So, yeah, right? You know, see, these people, they're not just like your regular Twitter people. They actually went there. But look at these people, like in her DMs. Ha ha! Your son getting attacked. Well, was he being racist? Guess what they did to people for being black and Mexican, right? Hello, Jennifer. I'm going to need more facts and independent corroboration before I cover this story or repeat it to my followers. Yes, I'll reported. However, I don't think I should give out too much private info. I will try to answer any questions you have. Could a complaint with your local law enforcement. It's so funny how people are all like, you need to do this now. But they're going to believe next time somebody gets a hijab pulled off like 100%. But this kid, he's got a broken nose, bloody, whatever. Oh, yeah, it's bullshit. You know, sometimes it could be false, but it's just funny. You see the amount of people that are just like, yeah, well, did he say something racist? Well, he probably deserved it for what you guys do to Mexicans and blacks. But yeah, you know, so deserved. You don't know what this 13-year-old kid did. He deserved to be punched. You know, punch a Nazi. See, minding my business, Juice. So, see, you know, the thing is, man, is that they want white people to stand up for racism of other groups of people, and we need to stand up and fight, and we need to stand and be in the and fight racism and go to white people and tell them not to be racist and step in when you see racism. But nobody's gonna do that for us, man. You know that, right? Nobody's gonna do that for us. They're gonna laugh. They're gonna cheer it on. They're going to say it's good. They're going to say it's deserved. They're going to say colonialism and racism and white prejudice and white systemic racism. That's going to be the response when they see racism, when they see prejudice being attributed to white people. That's what they say now. This is what they will continue to say, because everybody's deluded to think that white people are just horrible and we ruined everything and we made everybody's lives worse. We discriminate. We're white devils. We steal. We pillage. We kill. When it's like, man, you guys, you'd all be living in caves. A lot of you people would be living in the Middle Ages right now if it wasn't for white people. You know, I'm sorry to say. If it wasn't for white people, a lot of people would not have as good of a life as they have now. Okay, history was surviving in history up until recently has been very, very difficult. Okay, was not easy. There's been disease, famines, you know, like wars, like this all happened before white people, and this would happen even if white people go away, right? But without us, the world will be much worse off. And that's the whole funny thing, is that people are just so like, oh, I'm so oppressed. And I'm so, it's like you're in our country. Like you're in the countries that we built. We let you in a lot of the times. Like we let you in. Unless you're a slave from fucking America. But other than that, you know, most people came to the country, to Canada, voluntarily. And yeah, you know, white people have done a lot of good for the world, and the world would not be as good as it is now without us. There would still be the guy with the biggest club makes all the rules. You know, like we are the ones that came up with, you know, actual philosophy, actual law, actual justice. You know, like there's a reason why the rest of the world looks at our system and replicates it, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should have a parliamentary system or some type of system like they have at the very least. Like, you know, that we're not looking at the way India does their shit, or we're not looking at anybody else's country and modeling off of them. No, they're all modeling it off of us, because we came up with some good ideas that everybody can prosper from. But, you know, once again, like I said, they have no sympathy. A lot of people think that we're a bane to the earth, that the earth will be better once we're gone, once we're extinct, and that they're going to be living in some utopia when we're all dead, right? Once we're all dead, they're going to be living in a utopia. And that's what people really think, which is funny, right? And it's going to be the furthest thing from a utopia without white people around. That's just my opinion. Not to say that's going to be like, people, they won't recover eventually one day, but, it'd be over for them. And millions of people would die. And they'd be like, why are we all dying? White people save us. Where are the white people? They need to come and save us. Just like in Zimbabwe, or like I remember there's like this news where like Zimbabwe took all the whites' land. Like a year later, Zimbabwe, starving. Everybody's starving. It's like another year later, Zimbabwe asking for white farmers to come back. Please come back. It's like that's what's gonna happen, just on like a global scale, really. Essentially, it's the Pareto principle. Yep, same ones running Israel. They're the Khazarian followers of Babylon, Saudi Arabia. There's one of the fake crypto Jews who Jesus called them the synagogue. Yeah, exactly. They're the synagogue of Satan. Africa has a land. I heard that term. I heard it from Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan. That's where I heard that synagogue of Satan for the first time. And I remember I looked it up. I was like, oh shit, that's actually in the Bible. Like, it wasn't just saying that shit. It's actually true. But, there is a, I don't even know. I don't know about the history about Jews and stuff like that. I'm no scholar or historian when it comes to that shit. Africa has a land shortage. I don't think so. They have the biggest land mass on the fucking planet. You mean Rhodesia? Nation of Islam is hilarious. Well, I like, if you listen to Louis Farrakhan, he makes a lot of good points. Listen to one of his speeches and shit, and you're like, huh, he's actually for small government in a lot of ways. He's like, we don't want welfare. We don't want this. We need to get off of all this stuff. He's like, we need to start like creating our own businesses, spending money in our communities, like actually promoting good things. He's like, don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do crime. They actually, Nation of Islam patrols areas for free and reduces the crime in those areas and shit. And like, in some ways, they do a lot of good in some ways. They promote better morals than what's being promoted right, today. Especially towards the black community and stuff. And it's probably better than what they're getting, but there's a lot of hate whitey and hate the white man in that thing too. But other than that, they do call out Israel, and they do make the distinction between Jews and stuff a lot as well too. And that's why they try to fuck with that guy too all the time. They always try to fuck with Louis Farrakhan because he's saying things that are true, that they don't want him to say, right? And there's other things he says that I disagree with, but ultimately, he could definitely, there's a lot of red pills in there for people for sure. And a lot of people listen to him. Highest amount of habitable land on earth. Yeah, like they're the biggest continent on the planet. But are you not really Islamic? Doesn't pray, dress with fancy suits like that gospel people, but the message is good. Yeah, right. But everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, I want you to join my Discord. If you have not joined my Discord already, I'll send a link in the chat if you want to join it, or you can just look at the links below the page as well. There's a lot of links down there too. Go there, join me on there. You can also follow me on BitChute too. I got an account there. I have a link below in the page. If you just look below me right there, you'll see the link as well. But everybody share the content, hit like if you did like it. If you don't share it, that's fine. But, everything helps, especially right now. I feel like I've been getting throttled a little bit lately. Maybe, like I said, it's because I just haven't released that much content and it's just not promoting it to people's feeds anymore. That could be one of the reasons, but it doesn't hurt to to share all that stuff, man. And also I want to try to do something with DLive too. I got to figure that out, how to do a restream and how to do a multi-stream on DLive, and then maybe I can get some more people there as well. Don't like white people. I never see that changing. It's not biological that black people don't like white people. I don't agree with that. I think that diversity doesn't always work and shit, but I don't think there's some inherent, like, people aren't we're inherently tribalistic in a lot of ways, but we don't just inherently dislike other races for no reason. Or you got, like, a lot of black people, they're depending on where you grow up too. It's like, and same with, like, think about natives in Canada here. Like, they're not just born hating white people and shit. It's through years and years of television, of their parents telling them, the white man did this, and some of our ancestors did some bad things, right? As well. And we can't discount that. We can't say everything we did in history was good. Obviously not. There was a lot of bad things that have happened. And, some of the best lies are half truths. And, a lot of the stuff that they keep the resentment in the hearts of Aboriginals or black people is they use a lot of truth, a lot of things that do happen, and then they fudge a lot of it around, and they exaggerate a lot of it, make it worse than it really is or really seems. And Thomas Sowell, I can't even say it. Thomas Sowell, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but he's a really good guy. Like, he's a good author. And no, I don't think, like, my little niece, she's black, man. Well, she's probably like a quarter black, I guess. But it's not I don't think it's not a genetic thing. I don't think people are born hating or disliking other groups per se. A lot of that stuff has to be taught, but tribalism is true, though. Like, people are tribalistic, and they do feel more comfortable around people that look the same as they do, right? And that is true. People will always feel more comfortable around looking the same, around people that look the same as them, but that doesn't mean that they're just born like, I don't think we got to be careful about intent, right? Because intent matters. And if we just assume everybody coming into our country has a certain intent, or people, black people have this negative intent towards us, then we're never going to be able to ever, come to understanding. And I think we can come to a lot of understanding, but there is all this false intent behind a lot of things, right? People like I was discussing on one stream a little while ago about invaders, right? The people that cross our borders illegally, like, those are invaders. The people that cross America's border illegally, those are invaders, right? But the people that come into Canada legally, they're not invaders. And that doesn't mean I want them to come into the country. It doesn't mean I think it's good, but they're not invaders because they're not coming in with the intent to invade, right? Some people, they come in with the intent to have a better life, to make more money, to raise their kids in a safe place, and they're not literally coming to invade. Now, in the end of the day, it's essentially the same thing, right? If we get overrun by immigration, even if their intent is not to invade, doesn't really matter because I'm going to be replaced anyways. But it makes people think worse of other human beings when they don't need to think that way, right? Most people are good. Most people are good people, or at least they're neutral at the very least, right? And they're not bad and whatever. Most people want to just get by, live, not cause a lot of trouble and shit. And Well, you say, but the majority of the people that were coming into Canada aren't Muslim, right? So if all of the people were coming in to Canada were Muslim, then maybe I could be like, okay, maybe they're invading us, right? But they're not all Muslims. Some of them are from the Caribbeans, and they're not Muslim they don't have an intent to make a caliphate in Canada, right? Or some of them are coming from whatever country. They're not coming to necessarily invade. All I'm saying is invade puts a certain intent in your mind when you're thinking of a certain people, when you don't necessarily need to think about that. Like it's, people are coming in for whatever reason they're coming in. Doesn't mean because see, there's a lot of immigrants that actually agree with us, right? That actually do agree with us and would actually agree in a lot of things we're saying. Because I've spoken to a lot of them. Trust me, I've spoken to a lot of them. But let's just say you're like, hey, man, you're an invader, and you start calling them like an invader and shit, and then you start to try to get them to help or be on your side to vote for some things. That doesn't really work. Doesn't work too well, right? You'd be like, hey, man, you know what? You're in my country now, and we're in this country, but we need to stop immigration because it's going to affect you and my life negatively, right? And I've talked to plenty of brown immigrants like that agree with me and that say, you're right, you're making perfect sense, and I completely agree with you. But if you're like, you're an invader and your people are invading my country and shit, and you need to get the fuck out because I don't want to stop giving you money because you're all on welfare and shit. And maybe they may not be on your side to do much, but I'm not deluding myself to think that I can get minorities on my side, but you can get a few minorities on your side, and all the help that you can get matters, man. If you can get a few black people, brown, Asian, they're like, hey, let's keep Canada. Let's stop immigration and have a moratorium on immigration. Why wouldn't you want that? Like, they're in the country now. You can't kick them out. They're here. And if you can use their vote to vote for something that reduces immigration, we should increase the likelihood of that as much as possible. So, the words we use are important, and we shouldn't, I'm not saying don't offend people. Say truth. Always say what is true. But there's certain ways that you can convince people that are better than other ways, right? Maybe a few Syrians. Yeah, well, I need slaves, Philip. So I obviously want slaves. Silver is used in all the electronics and high conductive wiring. It is at an artificially low price. I think you should be able to kick any out of here illegally. In fact, anybody who is here illegally should be able to be kicked out immediately, right? There's no legitimacy. We should be able to use force against anybody who is here illegally. We should be able to use as much force as necessary and be like, hey, sorry, man, you crossed the border. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, you're going in this knapsack and we're fucking throwing you in a boat and just putting it in, and we're going to kick it off to sea. Like, that's what I think we should do to actual invaders, to actual illegals and shit. If you want asylum, apply for asylum at the embassy in your fucking country, okay? Because you have an embassy in your fucking country, and it's not okay. You can't just cross a border and be like, but the criminals are gonna kill me. I don't care. Okay, I don't give a fuck. But if you're here legally, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna promote that because we invited you in. All the people that are here legally, we invited them in, man. I didn't invite them in, but the government did, and a lot of other useful idiots did. So I'm not gonna be like, okay, violently remove these people because we trick them into thinking that they could come live here, right? They thought, hey, everything's good. I have the consent of the people. They're letting me in. Everything's cool. And then what? You go and kill them, or not kill them, but like violently remove them. It's like, you know, they got lied to as well, right? But all the illegals need to get the fuck out of here. No sympathy whatsoever. You know, because like one of the reason I say about legal citizens is because that's going to cause a whole mayhem of shit if we start saying you can remove legal citizens, because where do you stop the line? You know, that's going to create a whole fucking heap of a mess, right? That I don't think anybody wants to get into. So it's better to deal with what we have right now and kick out all the illegals at the very least. You know, you can do that. And like I said, I don't care how much force you use. Well, you don't need to kill them, I guess. But I guess if they're really, you know, if they're tied themselves to a tree and you're like, all right, you know, cut your hands off. I don't know. I don't care. I have no sympathy for illegal aliens whatsoever. None whatsoever. Zero. You know? And maybe if they were legitimately, like, let's just say America, there's some crazy war or something, and all these people are being like burned alive, and then there's people like literally running for the borders because they're like, they're like, help us, please. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe in that situation. But like people, they're taking like a visa, they're getting a visa into America from a plane. They take a taxi cab to the fucking border, then they get a fucking suitcase. They have all these, and they're like, they just cross the border and be like, well, okay, let me in. Like, no, like, no. Good night, AJ. Thanks. Have a great weekend. All right. Well, thank you, Dino. I hope you have a great weekend. I know you like to fuck with me a little bit. No, my girlfriend would not let you do that. She's all for the white dick. She likes the white cock, not the Jew dick. You know, not gonna get anything from that. Like, I don't feel a thing. I don't feel a thing. Their first act was to wreak our laws, and they are here for social programs and free stuff. Well, okay. Who's they? Who's there? Who's their first act? You know, is it? Man, trust me, I know lots of immigrants who come who just want to work, right? They just want to work. A lot of people, they're not just coming to take all the free stuff, right? There are some people that come to take the free stuff. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people, but we can't think that every single person's coming here to exploit, right? I'm telling you, man, I know lots of immigrants who work way harder than your regular Canadian, man. And I'm just saying this out of my observation, and I'm just honest. And I know lots of immigrants that work like 3 jobs, right? Because they come from countries, some of these people, where they don't have an opportunity to do all this. And, you know, like they would love to fucking be able to run a business. They would love to be able to do all this shit. And when they get the opportunity to, they do. And they you know, they work hard, they do all this crap and all that crap. But that doesn't mean I want them here, right? That doesn't mean I want them to come into my country. I don't care how hard you work. Work hard in India, okay? I don't care. We should just stop all the immigration coming in to begin with. But like they're not coming, like those people like that, he's not really coming to steal everything, right? I know lots of immigrants that come in. Like, you know what, man? The guy I rent this place from, he's like a Muslim or something, right? His name is Zaid. And this guy is fucking super fucking nice, man. This guy, you know, he owns a couple places. You know, he does a couple different jobs. He works, and he hasn't raised my rent for fucking so long, more so than any other place I've been. Like, this guy is a good guy, man. This guy's a really, really good guy who's helped me out so many times and shit, right? And, you know, he's a brown guy. You know, I don't know what country he's from. I have no idea, but he's one of the fucking nicest people I've ever met in my life. He's helped me out more so than a lot of people have helped me out in my life. So, you know, we gotta be worried about putting negative intent to people who are just good people a lot of the times. A lot of people are just good people. There are a lot of bad people we're bringing in, a lot of racist and a lot of succubuses we're bringing in too, but there's a lot of good people, and they're not bad people and shit. But once again, I'll preface this that doesn't mean I want mass immigration, doesn't mean I want anybody coming into my country. I don't care how good of a person you are, how hard of a worker you are. I want you to stay in your country because I don't want to be a minority within my own country, right? Go check out the other video I made the other day about, do Canadians have a right to be, what do you call it? What was the word I used? What was the word that you used to describe people that are like, not that great? Mediocre, right? I'm like, are Canadians or white people allowed to be mediocre, right? Are we allowed to have a country where we don't have to, we don't have to be the best or something, right? They're like, oh, if we want to compete with the economy, we need to keep importing people. It's like, well, can we just be mediocre and not be replaced? Like, can we remain the people of our country and just be a bit poorer? Is that okay? Like, I don't want to be rich. If being rich and wealthy means I need to import all these smart people into my country to make me more wealthy and all these hard workers, then I don't want it. Then let us stay poor. I want to stay poor and mediocre, but then at least I get to stay fucking European, right? At least I get to stay that way. Because you know what? In Tuluvu, that example I brought up in the video, they're a really small, poor country, and they're not going to be replaced. And they're living comfortably on the side of the beach, lounging around, and nobody's saying to them, hey, you better learn how to code. Otherwise, this Indian guy from India is going to come in and take this job and make it so you can't even live like this anymore, right? It's like, people, it's just always about the economy, always about the GDP. When people, they fall into that argument where it's just like, no, it's okay if our economy doesn't do as good. And you know what? I think it's probably going to do better, even though we stop importing tons of immigrants. They're like, oh, Brexit, it's going to ruin the UK economy. And as soon as Brexit did that, they fucking, the wages started rising immediately. Oh, shut the fuck up, boss man, you fucking faggots with that stupid fucking shit. Oh my God. But the lizard didn't invade other countries. So every people have invaded another group of people throughout history, okay? Every single one. Every single one. Every single one. So nobody has a right to any piece of land they own. Yeah, no, that's not a lie. Do you think people have just been in one location since the beginning of time? Like, there were Neanderthals and we killed all of them. We took over their place too. We displaced the Neanderthals and the Denisovans and the little Hobbit people, etc. But not even them. In Africa, there was what is the Hutu tribe or whatever. Like they were a small tribe and they eventually populated like half of Africa. How do they do that? By displacing other groups of Africans, right? How the Chinese didn't displace anybody, didn't invade anybody. Genghis Khan never invaded anybody. He didn't have. How did Genghis Khan get the largest empire to ever exist on the face of the planet? How did the Ottoman Empire get to the size it did? By being peaceful. But see, they get to keep their country and they don't get to be replaced because their conquest was different than your conquest. Your conquest was different than theirs. So blah, 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 blah. No countries for the Europeans because they're just better at war than everybody else and we're just better than everybody. Oh, well, you see, this is this thing, you get punished for being successful in history, right? White people were the most successful group in history. Jews just kind of like latched on to that and were like, take us with you, please, because if you don't, we're going to be nothing and you're nothing without us. Right? But essentially, white people, they're punished for being successful, right? And we do it to ourselves because we let them punish us. Like, we have all the power. We could just say, fuck you, go away, sorry, no money for you. But we're stupid, right? And we've been convinced by leftists and Marxists to give away our countries, give away our money, because we're better than other people at conquering than they are. They're just worse at it. We're better than they are at it. And we're getting shit on for it. But once again, I said, we're the ones doing it to ourselves. They have no power, right? You know what? If white people decided right now collectively that, like, okay, we're going to start making rules again here, and people are going to start following it. And they're like, nobody could stop us. Nobody would be able to stop us. Like, white people have always been the minority throughout history. But look at the amount of influence they've had throughout history. Even in Africa and South Africa, they were this tiny minority, yet they were still able to control that huge group of people, right? So, we're just more successful than other groups. And like I said, we're punishing ourselves for it when we really don't need to punish ourselves for our own success. But we're convinced that, white privilege and colonialism. Well, why didn't you colonize other places? Because you were too weak to do it. Because you didn't have the capability. Because you didn't have the technology to do it. And you were too weak and you're not capable enough to do it. But once again, like I said, white people, they're just getting shit on for being successful, right? It's unfortunate. What a lot of people don't talk about is just before the U.S. was founded, the Barbary pirates in North Africa actually attacked America. Naval battles were intense. History could have been different. Yeah, they should have just let the Muslims take over, because then we wouldn't have all this like constant bitching and complaining and shit. And they'd be like, they'd all be castrated and shit. And you'd be like, then you wouldn't have to hear anything about Jewish people and shit, because they all be gone as well too. I just be with my 6 wives converted to fucking Islam and shit. Or maybe we'll let the Chinese do it and we'll throw people in camps or whatever. What a lot of people, that's why he can't handle any negative feedback. Duke is drunk all the time. Duke Willis. Sounded like now Vernon. Okay, what did I miss up here? But yeah, this is getting pretty late. I'm going on for a long time. 3 hours and 20 minutes. But everybody, thank you again for following me, hitting the like, sharing, subscribing. Like I said, follow me on Discord as well. I want to try to get at least a couple hundred people in there if I can, maybe 200 people. Let's try to get it to 200. I'm at like about 150 right now. The more people in there, the better, because then, I'll have a lot of people sharing ideas, sharing stories, and, it's a good venue to look up information and stuff. So, go check it out. Go check out the Discord. Go check out my BitChute in case this gets removed at some point in the future. All that good stuff. AJ YouTube channel 10. Good show. Thank you, Philip. Okay, bro, join the Discord. Good night. Oh, thank you for joining the Discord, Slippin Lizard. Have a good night too, man. She's super jealous. He's super jealous of me, Julie. I didn't see what he wrote. He deleted it before I read it. Boss man, thank you for sticking around, Julie. Everybody go sub to Julie Mora's channel if you are not subbed. Go sub to BC Barbie's channel. if you are not subscribed to BC Barbie. I have all of the links in the description below. So you can follow BC Barbie, Julie Mora, all the other YouTubers that were in here, for the Forgotten Canadians that was in here earlier as well. Go sub to his channel. Help out other Canadians. Like I said, it's getting more and more difficult with YouTube seeming to throttle people. Like I said, maybe it's just people are uninterested in some of the content that I have right now, or that I'm just not releasing enough of it, so it's not appearing in people's feeds. But yeah, like I said, it's difficult, so sharing helps. Go check out the other 2 videos I made recently, because those ones weren't doing very good either. If you haven't watched them, I recommend you go check them out. Leave an opinion, leave a comment, all that stuff helps. And thank you everybody for donating Rainy Steps and also Santia Guerra. I really appreciate it. No, I would never put my girlfriend on my stream. That would be terrible, man. That'd be fucking terrible. But everybody, thank you for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Take it easy, guys. Good night.